tell you this. I have really good girlfriends. I do not have any bad friends. And here's why, because that's my expectation. And I think that sometimes we feel that if we set boundaries in friendship, that we're being a certain way and we're not. And I think we have to learn to set boundaries and says like, this is a hard no for me. Treat others how you like to be treated. There's been so many instances where I've inspired by women friendships. So the first time I've known Jennifer Gaskin off and on. I'm going to throw them here. But Giselle and Jennifer, like, Lord, frickin' frack. The first time I saw them together, I was so inspired by their friendships. I'm like, girl, like I just love how they're always just writing for each other and being there for each other. And to me, that's the definition of sisterhood. There's a lot more that I've seen in Worcester, but those stand out to me because it's been a few years, it's been consistent, and I just love it. And I've said it to them several times. And I appreciate you guys. And I've had many conversations with when Jennifer, I'll call and like, I'm just so fascinated by the idea of sisterhood. I want to do something that just reminds women that, like we're stronger together, that reminds women that, we're beautiful, like reminds women that the next woman is not your enemy, even if she's doing the same thing as you're doing. It's okay to cheer for other women. It is absolutely okay to cheer for other women. Let's cheer for each other right now. you know, everybody has different definitions of success. Some wants a PhD, some wants a master's, some just want to get through high school. Like whatever it is that your dream and your vision is, once you accomplish it, that is enough. So don't judge yourself by somebody else's standards, and don't judge somebody else by your standard. Just because you're doing different doesn't mean that you're doing better, because everybody's joy is different. Everybody's happy place is different. Like some people like hiking and manual labor, not me. It's like, not me. I like beaches and tea parties, right? It's like, it's better, it's just different. So I think if we get anything out of this summit, I just want to make sure that you guys get out of this like, another woman is your supporter. Cheer for another woman, even if it's secret. Like if you're like, listen, she handled me wrong, but it's okay. Still cheer for her, because I do believe that your blessings will come when you continue to do that. There's a couple of different men in the room, and there's one special guy that I'm going to single out, because when I told him, like, listen, I want you to come up and say something about sisterhood, because here's one of the reasons why I did this. I Every time I'm in the room with him, he's surrounded by women. He's the only guy in the room sometimes, but you know what? The way he treats women is so respectful. And I think that is so important. He's not a toxic male. He's comfortable in who he is, and, doesn't have to like just be up on a female. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I love that. So I did invite him, and he was like, nope. I'm like, well, you're doing it anyway. But he is an ally and a feminist. So let's welcome Mr. Sean Harris. Let me not take the mic with me. Every time. You can use that.
We need this one?
Yeah,
We need this one or just this one?
the little one.
Oh shoot, I get mic'd up. Oh. Every time. She gets me every time. Well, first of all, thank you, and big shout out to Suzanne for absolutely putting on the best events all the time. If you were at the gala last year, if you had events like this, Suzanne don't play. Um, but thank you for having me. I She gets me every time, but that's all right. So I just want to start, good night, good evening, good day, whatever it is for you, blessings. Suzanne, thank you for choosing me to speak from the perspective of an ally during Women's History Month. When Suzanne told me I was speaking, and notice I didn't say asked because she told me I was speaking, it wasn't a request, it really was more like a command. Um, but what she said to me was, I need you to speak on how you stand up for women. Um, and for a second, it took me to really it took me a second to step back and realize what she meant by how I stand up for women. So as I began writing down my talking points, the how became kind of easy. But I'd be remiss to not talk about not only how I stand up, but not to begin with why I stand up for women. I stand here on the shoulders of 4 generations of incredible women. Um, from my mother to my great great grandmother, I do everything based on what they've given me before they passed. In addition to that, I have a daughter and now a granddaughter. And I always want to be the example of the male support that they can carry with them going forward in life. Recently, I was in a conversation with a person who's super important in my life, and we were having a conversation about love languages. And I realized that my love language has always been safety and security. Anyone who's close to me will tell you that I'm always about making sure the people in my life are safe, whether that's physically, mentally, or emotionally. And it definitely manifests more with the women in my life. And I often get, you're so overprotective. But regardless of that, I will always take overprotective under underprotected any day. Again, plays out for me both professionally and personally. But professionally, when I look at standing up for the women, not only in my life, but in the community, here's what I feel I do best in my role as an ally to help further the fight for gender equity and equality. Sometimes I'm asked to be out front, and that's how I'll support, not only appearing and speaking at women's events, financially supporting efforts that are out there, also fighting for causes that affect the women of our communities and the women in my life. Being out front, often I have to utilize my privilege as a male to make the road easier for others coming behind me. But it also means connecting the dots and introducing women that are absolutely out here killing it to other women that they may not know, so that network becomes stronger. Sometimes that privilege means knocking on doors so that they open for them and they can come in behind me. Sometimes it means kicking down those doors for them. Just as important as being out front, though, is standing beside women in solidarity. It's being the right hand or left hand that's needed to make sure the women in my life and the community have someone walking beside them in the battles they face daily. It's not always about bulldozing the path ahead, but walking arm in arm when necessary. It's also about listening to, reading about, and learning about the issues affecting our women and looking to support candidates, legislation that promotes and honors equity in all forms. It's about me sitting on boards of directors for organizations that only serve women so I can give my perspective, not try to influence policy, but I can also learn what women need in my community. It's applying a critical lens and making sure we're equitable at every table that I sit at. Even today, we have conversations about groups with little to no input from the groups that we're talking about. I will always make sure that whatever tables I'm at, the voices of the people I represent will be at that table as well, and bringing people to those tables along with me. In addition to standing out front and standing beside, but there's also standing behind. In the figurative and literal sense, I got your back. It's being that supportive person behind the scenes, helping push your agenda forward without stepping out front. That means for me, following the great leadership of women that I have in front of me. When they're leading the charge, never once feeling like I need to be out front or lead. It's simply supporting them from behind when asked to do so. Lastly, and I'll close with this, sometimes supporting means just showing up, sitting down, shutting up, and listening to our women speak. Matter of fact, that's what I'm gonna do now. Oh,
You
unhand me microphone.
got it. All right. See why he was told? He was voluntold. No. So no. Thank you, Sean. Please give Sean a round of applause. Thank you. And when I talk about allyship, that is what I mean. Whatever you need, absolutely, there he is, standing up for you. I know that Carla already did a shout out to everyone, but I do want to highlight my sponsors once again. Monica Adwani from BRZ Insurance. She has a representative here. Hello. We have information in the little goodie bags. Please make sure if you're looking for insurance from all form. Also, Valerie Celeste Wyndham from Promoting Good. Check them out on LinkedIn. Jennifer, the author, thank you. Please check out her book. Her release, The Exit, was last year. Please check it out on Amazon. And also Worcester Caribbean American Carnival Association, which is also headed by Jennifer Gaskin. So double dipping, y'all. Double dipping. So, so thank you to the sponsors. Thank you. I am so appreciative of them because, like I'm a small person, I'm a small company and I'm not a nonprofit. So a lot of times when we are trying to get funding for events, it's just brutal. It doesn't happen. So I can always count on my community to say like, hey, I got you, sis. It's going to happen anyway. I got you, sis. I love that. It's gonna happen anyway, but like I'm gonna do it. So it's nice that I don't have to bear the burden on my own. So to anyone that's doing small events, reach out to your community, even if they could give you 10, 20, $30, it doesn't matter. Every little thing adds up because every single detail that you see at an event, everything costs. And if you know anybody who can run a print shop, let me know because I paid over $200 to get them programs at Staples. Thank y'all. So, so that is the next business I would certainly like to support. Please. All right. So thank you for that. So we have some fabulous vendors. We will have some break throughout the day for you guys to shop. But if you want to go quietly and shop during, that's fine. Don't scream when you get your purchase. But please, we have Bree Sweet Treats. Round of applause. Lily's Accessories Plus. All right. SJ Health and Beauty. Candles by Darnella. And Sweet by Lay. And let me tell you, there's some really good stuff down there. So make sure that you're supporting these small female business owners. And do want to do shout out to the JMAC for the wonderful donation of the space. I will tell you that their donation of the space allowed us to not charge you guys for the event, that you guys could come free of charge. So thank you all for that. I appreciate that. And I do have to shout out my husband, Paul, who So he is my executive producer. So every Positively Suzanne event, he's there because like he's audio, visual, photography, and all of that. So he's my other half. I won't say better, but he's my other half. Only because the wife normally is the better half. I'm just saying, right? But honestly, everything that I do, he's a partner, equal partner. They're supported me, whether it's researching until 2 in the morning, how to do something, how to live stream something. So, honey, I love you and appreciate you. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. And there's a few boxes from Amazon. No. So anyway, I am so excited about the next workshop presenters. And let me just say this. So a lot of the speakers were told that they're speaking. You know what? And here's the deal. I was going to put out a speaker application and open it to anybody because I have a vast network. I know people nationally and a lot of folks from Boston. But then I thought, I know so many phenomenal women in Worcester. Why import talent when they're right here? So I was like, done. It saved me some time to read a bunch of applications when it's already here. So the next three presenters, I'm going to announce them in the order that they're going to come in and they'll come one after the other. So the first presenter we will have would be Natalie Rodriguez from Till Life Enterprises. She is going to be speaking on Fix Your Crown. Then after that will be followed by Latasha Thompson Usen. She'll be talking about, girl, I'm trying to remember. I am my sister's keeper. Thank you very much. Yes, yes. And then we have Alicia Graham, who is going to be speaking on the benefits of godly sisterhood. So they will follow one after the other. Please cheer for them as they're coming up and cheer for them as they end. All right, because we support each other here. All right, I got you, sis. All right. So without further ado, let's welcome Miss Natalie Rodriguez. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're gonna need that difference.
It's my turn. My turn. Good evening, everybody. That was kind of weak. Good evening, everybody. Okay, that was better. All right, give me a sec. I gotta put the mic. I'm just gonna let you know I'm not as funny as Latasha. She's coming up next, but I'm gonna do my best, right? So I am from my. Well, for those of you that don't know me, I think I know almost everybody in the room. But my name is Natalie Rodriguez. I own Two Life Enterprises, which we do curated events, networking events. Excuse me, mentoring, consulting, and a little bit of everything. So you guys actually have cookies inside of each one of your bags. They're from one of my mentees. She's part of the E4All program, so shout out to E4All. And she made them, so that's my mentee. So her little handle is on there as well, along with my business card information and stuff as well. We're actually working on a current retreat right now, which is great. So I'm just shouting that out. So just follow me and you get all the stuff on the pipeline, right? So my topic is fix her crown, not fix your crown, fix her crown. So when Suzanne told me, I was also told, I was also told that I was speaking. When Suzanne told me, she said, "Well, what do you want to speak about?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not." So I had to kind of look, and then I was like, "Well, why don't we do fix her crown?" It's Women's Month, and this is a Women's Summit, so you know we tend to kind of fix our own crown and maybe fix the people that we know's crown, but what about the people that we don't know? And so microphone. Okay, hold on. Get this mic up here. So the people that we don't know, right? I need 3 volunteers. Hands up. Breeze one. Okay, come here, Raquel. All right, keep your hand up. I need 3 up. Raquel's gonna go ahead and give one. Look, give one to Bree over there. Keep your hand up. Keep your hand up, Raquel. There's one over here too. So everybody's crown is different. Some are gonna be more bedazzled than others. Some people like there's a little more dull. They don't like them as bedazzled. Some people are gonna. I need one more volunteer. Come on, y'all. Entertain me, please. There you go. Thank you, Jennifer. Shout out to Jennifer. They're colorful. Some are different colors. Some are bigger than others. Some are more dull. So if you guys could just pass around the crowd, don't pass it yet. Don't pass it yet. Take a selfie. Post it. Put the hashtag to life because we're cheering to life, right? And hashtag sipping tea too, right? Sipping tea. But just go ahead and just share the crowns. Take pictures with each other. Have fun with the crowns because you know what we don't realize is that we tend to just want to just have our own. So it's just a matter of fixing each other's. And one thing that I've learned and being uplifted by others is how I saw it made me feel. So when I learned how a crown, somebody else helping me fix my crown made me feel they're having fun with it. When I saw how it made me feel, it made me want to do the same for others. So the same thing like Suzanne. I didn't know who she was, and we're friends. Like that's my sis right there. But we didn't become that. It wasn't until she kind of just came into my life and she fixed my crown. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be something super simple. It could just be words of encouragement. Fixing her crown doesn't have to. You don't have to really go out of your way too much to actually fix each other's crown, right? And things could be challenging. Being a business owner could be challenging. Being a boss could be challenging. Being a woman could be challenging. It's challenging. Not could be. It is challenging, right? We the men just have it easier for other things. And I'm not even saying business or anything. I'm just saying just in general. Like, you guys get to stand up when you go to the bathroom and then we can't. So it's a lot easier and stuff, right? And so being able to be uplifted by others is super important. I wanted to kind of touch on the sisterhood part and fixing her crown. There's people in the room like Carla. Carla's always been super supportive. That was gonna she didn't know she was gonna. So she's always been super supportive, and so she's always been able to just kind of give me little words of encouragement, fix my crown. But I hadn't seen Carla in years, right? But we knew each other from back in high school. I'm not gonna say how long that was ago, but we knew each other since high school, and now as adults, we've been able to kind of just be there, support each other. I support her mission, she supports my mission, and those are just some examples, right? Suzanne, like I already said, Miguelina, I don't know if she's in the room yet, but Miguelina, she's another one. She's been able to just be there for me, and in times. Raquel Knight, she's also, and I'm talking about, these are people that I met recently, but I consider them more friends and sisters than some of my own friends and sisters, if you know what I'm talking about. And so, oh, there's a nice little crown over there. And so there's people like that, Elizabeth Cruz, and I just wanted to shout out a few just to give you an example. And Mari Gonzalez, like I didn't know her. We went to school together. I think we went to school like at some point, and I didn't really know who she was. But then, there's these moments where she's like, "Hey, I have this for you," and she'll come to me, and I'm like, "Hey, I have this for you." Like we just support each other and fix each other's crowns. And so that's what we have to be able to do with each other, because, like Suzanne said, there is no competition. Like Sean had said the same thing. We shouldn't be competing with each other. Even if you're in the same field, it doesn't matter. People have preference. And so we should be working together and collaborating. And that's kind of the theme almost of the year for me, is like, just make sure we're just collaborating and that we're working with each other. Make sure that you are a supportive sister. This is all, this is a sis, right? So make sure that you're a supportive sister. You're fixing each other's crowns to be as supportive as possible. And if I can encourage you guys to be as to fix one person's crown a week, make it a goal to just encourage one person, because you never know what people are going through. People can be going through a tough time and you may not know it, and just kind of saying, "Hey, how are you? How's it going? I see you doing great things." Or even if they're not doing great things, like, "Hey, what's going on, sis? Like, I see you, right? I see you, but like, hey, let me know how I can support you." And just that little bit of support can really help and uplift. I was somewhere yesterday, and I know that the people that are in the room with me today know that there was something said yesterday that the person sitting, and nobody else saw it, but the person sitting next to me knew that what was said might actually affect my mental. This woman was fixed my crown yesterday by touching my leg while as I was sitting there. She just gently touched my leg and just kind of gave me like a, "You're okay." And I wasn't really emotional about what was said, but she knew that it could potentially make me emotional. And so because of that moment, that was her fixing my crown. That was a perfect example of her fixing my crown. So I wanted to I'm not even going to shout out who it is. But she is actually part of today, but she's not here today. But she went ahead and she touched my leg on something, and it was like, okay. And after, I kind of was like, I didn't even react to it, and I didn't know how to react to it at the moment. But then after, I kind of went over to her and I said, "Hey, I just wanted to say thank you." I said, "I'm good. I'm good." But I was good. I was good. So it was, it was just kind of saying, "Hey, thank you," because I knew what you were doing. She was trying to be there to fix my crown, even though in a moment where she thought that it might have affected me in a different way. And it didn't, but she was still there, and that was really comforting to know somebody who I don't really know that well, or I grew to know, now, from just being at all these, wonderful engagements and stuff like that. So I encourage you all to fix each other's crown. It looks like you guys are all done passing the crown. If you need to pass the crowns more, and take a picture, make sure you take the selfie with it. Shout out to my daughter Raquel. Those are all from her Sweet 15. One was on her cake, one was on hers, and she's here. She's the one that passed them out. But definitely, you guys, just make sure that you fix each other's crown. I just wanted to leave you with that. It's really helpful for people to know that there's people that care for them and that love them, and we really don't know what we're all going through. And especially people like me, or like, people like me in general, I'm not telling you what's going on. I'm not posting what's going on. And so if you can silently even just kind of encourage somebody and fix her crown, I suggest and encourage you all to once a week Put it in your calendar if you have to. Fix her crown. Thank you.
Mm. Yeah, this is the last set. Yeah, this is the last set. Ah, yeah, these are like my last call for alcohol because I can only do 4 inches now. This is like the last set of, but these are the ones that match the dress. So yeah. Um, trying to be mindful of the time. I had it all set together until I didn't. Um, well, I just want to say thank you. That was a beautiful presentation. What a great opportunity to piggyback off such a powerful statement. My name is Latasha Hughes, Tasha Hughes Thomason, for all those that know my government. Yeah. I too was kind of told that I would be presented, but she kind of asked a little something, you know what I mean? For me to come out today and just, gingerly talk about the positivity of sisterhood, you know what I mean? Just kind of loosely chat about what it means to kind of just be there for each other and so forth and so on. And so I thought about it. And as soon as I thought about it, that title, I Am My Sister's Keeper, just stuck, right? But then I had a chance to kind of sit with that and kind of get a feel for what that really means to me. But more importantly, I had a chance to think about like what I Am My Sister's Keeper would mean to you, like what things I wanted to share um, and have you kind of walk away with. So I thought to myself, of course, everybody knows, most people know I am a professional comedian, so I couldn't help but put in a couple of lines because that's what I do. But I really wanted to have like a little bit of a living room conversation about some catchphrases that you could probably remember when you get a little stuck, right? Because through life, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to advance yourself and create your own path, you get stuck sometimes. And you don't always have someone there to fix your crown. Sometimes you need a toolbox to help us internally to shift the dynamic to create the energy that we need to get to the next level. So when your sister isn't there, I hope maybe one or two of these phrases you can remember, okay? One was first, it's very fundamental. What does it mean to be a sister? We have come a long way, girl. Show up, say my name. So it's a little interactive. So when I say I am, I need you to say my sister's keeper. Can you do that for me? Okay, I am. Okay. What does it mean to be a sister? Definition: a woman, a girl, in relation to other daughters and sons of parents. Second definition: a close female, friend or associate, especially a female member of a labor union or other organization. Both very beautiful definitions and accurate. But let's take the first one, for instance. It sounds pretty good, right? Just being a biological part of an internal family. But it's a little bit more warm than that. Sisterhood is that. It's like a warm hug. Secrets whispered at night. It's loving like sharing dolls, giving hair tips, but it's also tumultuous like puberty, lipstick, and heels, right? But some of our most powerful sisterhoods are the ones that we have the power and the privilege to cultivate, develop, and establish outside of our biological families. Those are the relationships that we've established here, that I myself have, like so many. Susan and I, we knew each other way before, but I knew her mom first. I know that's not the first time she's heard that. Your mom is very popular, darling. I'm not going to apologize. But it's from showing up and going to different events that I too have now started to establish relationships in this sisterhood. But it's also the foundation for us as women in terms of how we were able to impact and make a real change in the development of our basic freedoms, the freedom to purchase property, to vote, to have fair wage, to protect our wellness, not just our physical health, but also our mental health. And a lot of that goes unspoken because I do believe that a lot of women, even today, don't understand how easy it was to be mentally abused by your spouse. On the record in the DSM, your husband had the right up until the late 60s, or as late as 1969, to have you admitted into an asylum for being a BITC. And I don't want to disrespect this space, so I won't say the word, but it makes me think about the youth and how ignorant they can be, and if they're not taught how to really address each other. We shouldn't be addressing each other in those ways, even though we think that it's in play. But you can never really understand the words that are being used if you don't know historically what that meant for you and how it impacted you. So I do know that we all know about the 40s and the 50s when all the new washing machines came along and they were helping the women. All of the appliances, toys, that were actually substitutes for the sacrifice. Then you had to choose, educated or not. You were going to be a wife or you were going to be another. And a lot of women pioneered and decided to be the other, and not everyone was received well. But it was a sickness that went along with that. So as a part of ourselves was made to die, what was there to comfort? Medication. So pill boxes were also given out as gifts to keep your medication in, which became a decorative part of a well-known depression, systemic depression of women. So again, we're going to be what? Mindful. We've come a long way, girl. We've come a long way. Basic things like being able to go out and shop for ourselves to maintain our homes was a privilege we did not have. It was uncouth for a woman of any value to be unescorted. Escorted. Escorted. That could be your father, your uncle, your brother, and yes, even a ball and chain, AKA a husband, if you had one. In light, I had to make a joke. But in that fight to gain power, the women's suffrage movement, along with the advancement for Black women, was established. They fought together in solidarity for a lot of the things that we take for granted now. But it's those sisterhoods, it's those relationships in those spaces that we have an opportunity to establish. I do know and understand that we're familiar with our president, our vice president. When those women's groups were established, Alpha Kappa Alpha was one of the first sororities that was established for the advancement of colored women in that time. They were so powerful in solidarity that they then became presidential when it wasn't even okay for Black and white people to be in the same room. Mrs. Roosevelt, despite death threats, not only continued to support and invite those women in to fight for rights, she became a lifetime member. I am. Say my name. When you're in the boardroom and you have an opportunity to present my work, say my name. It's not like it used to be anymore, especially if you're Black and you are climbing the ladder of corporate America. It's never been easy, although I can say, and I champion, a lot of Fortune 500 companies are now ran and operated very successfully by African American females. but still the road is not easy. When you're in those spaces, I need you to be my keeper. When you're in those rooms and you know that you can give me credit for works or systems that have made the advancement of the organization that we work for come to fruition and meet goal, say my name to the people that are there to make the decisions for my upward development and my movement. Don't gatekeep, please. Right? Thank you. Thank you. Mentor. Just like my friend says, mentoring, it's just like fixing a crown. It doesn't have to be huge. It could be something as small as pulling a coattail, because the worst thing that could ever happen to you during your advancement is to get angry Black women syndrome, which in plain English is always almost just what? Advocating for self. Self-advocacy, but we may have done it too loud or we did it too proud, and then it gets misread. Bossy. Isn't that something? Bossy. Wow. Another misunderstanding. But what I want to say is also, when those things come about, it is always better to support. I am. Show up. Show up entirely. I need you to show up. Your finances, your resources, your talents, your relationships, your networks, your abilities, your support. Show up. Showing up is so important, not just for others in sisterhood, but for yourself. Because at the beginning, like I mentioned, I'm a comedian. But when I wasn't on the stage and someone wasn't seeing me laughing, Latasha showed up. It was another opportunity for me today. Yes, she asked me, but she saw something else in me that let her know that I had the ability and the skill. And she trusted me to deliver this message to you today. So I want you to remember, no matter where you are and what you're doing, make sure that you show up authentically yourself and full to, yes, share, but also for you. I am. We got this. She got this. You got this. We got this together. Thank you. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Good evening, everyone. Okay. Okay. Hey, everyone. I'm Alicia Graham. Some of you know me. I was raised in Worcester, currently live in Florida. So just visiting family. And when my sister asked me to speak, it was an honor, and definitely going to speak about how people see stuff in you before you even see it. So I'm going to be talking about the power of godly sisterhood, godly relationships, godly friendships, being united in Christ and walking in love. So just a brief bio. I'm going to read it, so it's going to be in like third person, okay? Alicia Graham is a beacon of wisdom and compassion. She brings years of experience as a Christian lifestyle consultant. So from my roots in mental health to trailblazing journey in inner healing, Alicia's holistic approach fosters spiritual growth and real-world success. Brought up by a mother of the Christian faith, Alicia's journey led to a Bachelor of Arts in Human Development and Human Services and a Master's of Social Work. Graduating and being able to understand the human experience, that's been amazing, school, but also just in taking that and using that practically within my business has been such a blessing. My influence spans the globe, connecting with individuals across all cultures. Alicia Graham Global Enterprises is a blend of practical insights and spiritual wisdom guides. I use it to guide my clients and aligning them with their Christian faith, fostering harmony between personal and spiritual growth. My commitment doesn't stop there. I have a nonprofit, that's Alicia Graham Ministries, and empowers believers worldwide through individual, familial, and group support, empowering others to transition from religion into relationship so that it's a kingdom lifestyle that you're living. Okay, and you're not just checking the box like I went to church on Sunday. Okay, so join me on this journey of just self-discovery, inner healing, and spiritual awakening. You're not just someone in the audience. You're a fellow traveler on a remarkable path of growth and empowerment. So, quick backstory. I grew up close to guys. I often had guy best friends. So don't get me wrong, I was close. I had women friends, but sometimes it felt like a nuisance because they could be catty, they could be petty, whatever you want to call it. So, but I was still friends with them because I can walk into a room and I can talk and I can mingle with you. But I always felt closer to my guy friends. Now, I could justify that and say that being one of 9 siblings, I was in between, smack dab in between. I have a younger brother and I have 2 older brothers, and I was right in between. So I gradually just got along with guys. But when God started revealing to me the power of godly sisterhood, I was never the same. And so that's been a beautiful journey for me. And with women, I noticed that it did require more work. I would say that with my guy friends, I could say one thing, they were like, okay, but there was more emotion when it came to women. So I was just like, okay, so I had to learn to navigate that. And because being friends with men is different with being friends with women. The reality is that women are created differently. We tend to feel all of our emotions. And so if there was a disagreement or something ended, it was genuinely painful for me because I'm a person that I really feel deeply. So to avoid pain, I would build up walls. And that's what I did. So God had to deal with me in that. Now I could use the culture card and say that even though I was born and raised here in America, my family is from Jamaica. And so their emotions, let's say that they don't express it as much. And so for me, I kind of had to stifle all of that feeling. But I get the honor of being a lovely Jamaican. And okay, so but if you know about the Jamaican culture, that's what I had to deal with. So I could be straightforward and blunt to an American female friend, and it could be taken in the wrong way. And so I had to, okay, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Trying to navigate these worlds. And my male friends would just be like, okay. Or my brother-in-law would just sit there and just be like, not be in the argument. So I'm just like, I didn't understand it, but the Lord had to teach me. So navigating friendships, being from the aspect of your upbringings can affect you in the wrong way if you're not doing it with God. So as I got older, God had to shift me from navigating friendships based on culture, what the world says is okay, and and what I was raised up into, cultivating friendship based on the culture of the kingdom. So remember, we're in this world, but not of it. Again, I'm a proud Christian, so my view is going to be from a Christian point of view, okay? So, so we can't let the excuse of the ways of the world get in the way of how we truly should be living. So, identity alignment, we need to be our authentic selves according to God so that we can serve the body of Christ the way God intended for us to. So, when I was doing the study, and anything, when you're studying the word of God, you want to make sure that you go back to the original intent of God. So I was like, okay, sisterhood, relational. And he led me to Genesis 1:27, how we were created in the image and likeness of God, and Genesis 2:18, how it was not good for man to be alone. So from the beginning of time, the original intent of God, we see that he created mankind to exemplify him, and he created mankind to be relational beings. When we align our lives to God, that means we live based on scripture and not our feelings. God brought me on a journey of healing, and I learned I needed to love my sisters, the women friendships in my life, despite what I felt about them, instead of just putting up that wall. When I love, again, I say I love, I feel so deeply for others, but I tried to stifle because of cultural norms. I was just like, let me shut down how I feel. Because, yes, I was told that I was the sensitive one when I was very young, and I didn't understand it. But God had to align me back back to my original authentic self. And that's why I'm talking about identity alignment. It's okay to be who you are, who God created you to be. It's okay to be sensitive. I learned that my sensitivity was tied to my call on my life. On this journey, I learned to love God, love myself, and to love others. In doing so, we are able to experience the abundance of Christ. So that's Matthew 22, 36 to 40. When God says, when one of the disciples asked Jesus, what's the greatest commandment? And he said, to love God with your whole being. And then he said, and the second greatest, to love others the way that you love yourself. So I want to ask you, are you walking in love? We only can love ourselves and others to the extent that we allow God to love us. So let's do a heart check. Are you walking in love towards God? Are you walking in love towards yourself? Are you walking in love towards others? If there's a deficit in any of these areas, you may need some heart healing. A lot of times, heart issues will stunt your growth and moving on in any relationship. That is bitterness, jealousy, malice, rejection, abandonment, parental or familial wounds, childhood or adulthood trauma. Feeling rejected can cause you to gravitate to another community, gravitate to toxic relationships, and completely identify with something that is not your identity. So you need healing. Patterns of toxic relationships, not living according to your God-given potential. God told you to start a business, and instead you're working a 9 to 5 because you just need to make ends meet. Relational idolatry, worshiping a person, using people to fill the void as opposed to God filling that void. So worshiping the created and not the creator will give you over to your lusts. So again, do you need healing? How do we heal? We heal through Jesus. By his stripes, we are completely healed. Isaiah 53:5. That requires a genuine relationship, not just saying it, but a genuine relationship with God. So through continual prayer and fellowship with God, it will help you to become healed. When our hearts are right, we attract healthy relationships. So if you are broken on the inside, sometimes a person will come along to feed that victim spirit in you as opposed to healing you. Again, that's why it's important to have a relationship with God. Your foundation on any relationship should be God. So you pray for godly friendships. When God's love flows from our hearts, then we would know that we are truly healed. The Bible tells us that the mouth speaks out of the abundance, the overflow of the heart. This is in Luke 6:45, Proverbs 4:23, Matthew 12:34. So that says that God is repeating that. So how are you communicating with others? What are your thought patterns towards yourself? What are your thought patterns towards God? Are you upset with God? That shows you if there is any areas in your heart that needs to be dealt with. Letting go of heart issues, casting it to God because he cares for you is a daily thing. Daily. I'm telling you, every day. Love my siblings, I love my mama, but I go back to God at the end of the night if something comes up, because I'm not going to hold and let any bitterness and malice hinder me from walking in alignment with God. So you want to walk in a kingdom lifestyle. You walk in love. That's Ephesians 5, 1 through 12, 1 through 2. You are to be peacemakers. Hebrews 12, 14 to 15. You are to be Holy Spirit led. Romans 8:14 and Galatians 5:18. And also we are to pursue a lifestyle that is intentionally aligned back to God. So, laid my foundation. Okay. so godly sisterhood. So God led me to the scripture of Proverbs 25. The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. So deep. When something is deeply sunken underwater, it's either harder to access, more difficult to see, and it requires more effort to bring up. Human motives are not always clear, even to the person themselves. The Bible tells us that the heart is deceitful, Jeremiah 17:9 and Mark 7:21 to 23. A wise person can draw things out of themselves through prayer, intercession, and a genuine relationship with God. Another way that we see God, though, he uses people and wise counsel and teachings to bring that inner healing, to bring that deliverance, to bring you into your God-given destiny, helping us to uncover what's really within, allowing us to be able to fully understand the inner aspects of ourselves that we weren't aware of. Everything that lies in a person's heart needs to conform to God's plans and standards. So godly community is important. Sometimes we're unable to see our God-given potential because of past traumas, because of wounds, and even just agreeing with cultural norms, politics. There are those who draw out of you the unnecessary mess and bring you into the abundance of Christ and allow you to see your true kingdom identity and all that God has for you. So again, as I mentioned, just cultural norms, I was just, okay, I'm supposed to be this way. And I would shut down my emotions. But if any of you has worked with me as a client or just me being your friend and praying for you, my sensitivity to God is what allows me to minister to people the way that I do. I speak from the heart of a father, and I tell you what he's saying to you about your life. And if any of you guys understand the prophetics, that's what God does. But I shut that down. So I had to go through a journey of healing to be able to hear that for others. At the end of the day, it's bigger than calling someone just sis in the body of Christ. This sisterhood is that I'm talking about is being united through Christ. Being in Christ means you walk in love intentionally. You walk in love intentionally. The thing is, we must exemplify Christ, and even if you feel you are not at fault, have you extended a hand? Have you prayed for them? You don't know what they're going through. We are called to love others the way that we love ourselves, and this speaks to something deeper within you. When you build your foundation on God, not your feelings or worldly culture, the right relationships and connections begin to take place. How do we cultivate godly sisterhood or friendships? This requires work, vulnerability, willingness, selflessness, and time. Most of all, we need God's wisdom to overcome unhealthy relational patterns. Who you surround yourself with matters. Proverbs 13:20 and Proverbs 27:17. As you are brought into a relationship with the Father, Jesus Christ calls you friend. So through this friendship, our human friendships can find their beginning and their purpose. So you want to just pray about your relationships, begin to bring God into all of them. That's what I had to do. And now I can say I have I have a good amount of women friends that I can rely on. And I will say that it took me being healed because there was something deeper. There are things on the inside of you that needs to be drawn out. Things we need healing from, things, sins and iniquities of our bloodlines that we need deliverance from, things that we need to be birthed out of us to shift us back into alignment with God. That's why we have the Holy Spirit. He searches our hearts and he convicts us of anything that doesn't align with God. And he helps believers to know the truth. The Holy Spirit also does this through friendships and wise counsel. So we see this, and for us to grow spiritually, it can't be by just human wisdom. That's why your friends must be spiritual. When I counsel, consult, intercede, or pray for people, I do it with the Spirit of God. I can't just pray my way. So if you have a godly sisterhood, you're praying for them how God wants you to pray for them, right? So, for instance, they're like, I need to pay a bill next week, pray for me. And God, you're going to prayer, God's going to probably say to you, pray that they're delivered from the spirit of poverty. That's what you begin to do. You're actually praying the will of God for their lives. Someone may be like, girl, I want to get married. And God's like, pray that their heart is healed first, because if I send a husband, they're going to sabotage it. You want to pray the will of God. So that's what the power of godly sisterhood does. Also, just bringing people into the sisterhood. Life with God is walking in love, and God wants people to know that they are loved. So even on the way here, prayed for my Lyft driver. I knew un poquito español, and I prayed for that lady. And I let her know, and I even went on the phone and let her know what God was saying about her. People need to be brought into the love of Christ and genuinely experience this sisterhood. The Spirit of God is needed to fully function, and how we are meant to function and to unite in Christ, according to our original intent, is important for the whole body of Christ. Godly friendships will build up the body and honor God. The power of godly sisterhood is that it continues the transformative process that Jesus began in you from the cross. So do you desire to be whole, walking in God-ordained destiny and identity? Are you believing for God-ordained friendships and relationships? Well, the Bible tells us that when 2 or 3 are gathered in his names, that he is in the midst. So I'm going to pray for those that they desire godly friendships briefly, and then I'll be done. So, Lord, I thank you today for those that desire to be aligned to God. And I thank you that you are bringing them in their kingdom identity. I pray for deep inner healing for those that desire to be healed, God, and just align them back to you. I pray the will of God to be done in their life. And Lord, I thank you even right now that those who desire to even understand you will be encountered by you. Lord, I pray your spirit falls on your people. Deep healing is taking place, and godly sisterhood and connections and relationships are going to manifest this week in Jesus' name. Amen.
Baby sister, FYI. Yeah, you got that? Okay. All right. All right, guys, let's give it up for the three amazing presenters. Natalie Rodriguez, Latasha Hughes, and Alicia Graham. Thank you guys so much. Three phenomenal women, three different perspectives, but they're all saying the same thing, right? Fix her crown without telling the whole world, right? You know, I am my sister's keeper. The importance of building godly sisterhood, praying for your sisters, because I'm gonna tell you, I am here today because a lot of people prayed for me. Amen. So let's pray for each other. I know that the event today is from 5 to 9. I so appreciate you guys taking the time to come. I hope y'all could stay for the whole event because there's so much goodness packed into the 4 hours. So it seemed like it's a lot, but it's not. So I appreciate your time truly, madly, deeply. And I think that's a song. But I do want to thank every single person that's here today. We are going to be taking a break. We're going to take a 15-minute break, and I mean 15. And when we come back, we're going to have a panel workshop, and we're going to have three phenomenal panelists. So we will have Jennifer Gaskin, we will have Mari Gonzalez, and we will have Stephanie Williams, and it will be moderated by Miguelina Peralta. Ooh, you notice I rolled my R's. I did it. Listen, thank you guys so much. So whether you were told or kind of asked, I appreciate every single person that is here today, that is standing in front of the audience and, sharing their truth. And again, as I said, I really want you guys to gain that another woman is not your enemy. Have you ever had the experience where, you get feedback that another woman doesn't like you? And you're like, I don't even know her. So here's the deal, guys. We've got to get over that. It's like I saw something, somebody says, like, if you know me well enough, if you have an issue with me, if you know me well enough, text me or call me. If you don't have my number or you can't do that, then you don't know me well enough, right? So gossip, innuendos, and rumors and things like that, these are the things that ruins friendship. If I have a friend and it's a true friend that I want to sustain that friendship, that I want that sentence to grow, I'm like, girl, what you said? Because I want to know, because I believe in that friendship. We need great relationships. Like my female friends are so important to me. And, it's funny that Alicia mentioned, being from the Caribbean. So I'm Jamaican, for those who didn't know. And so we don't typically wear our emotions on our sleeve unless it's anger. Be real now, unless it's anger. So I really wasn't raised to express my emotion in a healthy way. So, I mean, I had friends, but I think, the first time, like talking to my friends and saying, I love you, those were things that I didn't really do. And it wasn't until I met this Brazilian girl who is my best friend today, and she just kept doing nice things. And I was like, she is so weird. And She was just always in my face, like just always trying to hang out. And it's like, what is happening? So then finally she's like, girl, you are the hardest person to be friends with. I am trying to be your friend. And I was like, oh, is that what it is? Like, she was just always hugging me and touching me. And if you know me now, I'm always hugging, but that was not the way. I did not hug, like, believe me. And, it was just like, oh, okay. And, honestly, I will say my friendship with her, like, really broke a lot of barriers for me. Like, I'm saying, I love you. I am hugging. I'm kissing on the cheek. Like, Lord. But you know what? I think, I was limiting myself to the type of friendships that I thought I could have because I mean, I had great friendships, I thought, but it's just like, I would never say to another woman that I love you. I didn't until I learned that it's okay to tell your friends that you love them. It's okay. So now I will tell a woman that I love them, like a female friend. I will say, hey, queen. I will say, hey, beautiful. Like whatever it is, like tell people things. Tell women that they inspire you. Tell them that they're amazing because sometimes, even though you're looking at them and you're inspired, they do not even realize that they're inspiring. All right. So tell another woman that you admire her, that you respect her, that you see her, whatever it is. And do not, and I say this with all the disrespect, do not judge them based on your standard. Do not think they're not doing well because they're doing different. Everybody has their own standards. So let's celebrate them. Let's just live in love. So honestly, and I say this all the time, I don't have any enemies because if somebody says like, I just don't have time. Like I focus on positivity. And if you notice a lot of the people here, they say like, I met them about a year or two ago. Like, and I just like, so I was like, I like you. I'm gonna go over there, I say hi. And then we're friends. Natalie, Giselle, Latasha, like all of them. I've known just Jennifer for years, through my mom, but we weren't close because she was an adult and now we're the same age, right? She was my mama's friend. I don't know how that happened, but it's like, how you put these things, right? You see these things and you put these things, then you're like, okay, she's my mama's friend. She's an adult. So it's just like, and then let me tell you, this girl, like I call her as like, Jen, can you speak here? Yes, Jen. And, and I love Jennifer. Like, you know what you're getting with Jennifer. She's very honest. But like sponsor this. Yes. I don't even have to ask. Like she volunteers. Like suppose I had held back because I was like, that's my mother's friend. I can't be friends with that. So like don't hold yourself back from a friendship because you think that you have nothing in common. Like honestly, my best friend is she's 5 feet. She says she's 5'1", but she's really 5 feet. Like she really is, but suppose I had said, I can't be friends with somebody that's shorter than me. Like stop putting limitations on your friendship. So the vendors are here and they're ready for you. I am going to introduce well, actually I already introduced them, but I do want to call out a fabulous, 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 fabulous female, my mama, Doreen Samuel. She inspires me worlds without end. She is my definition of a woman that will always do the thing that needs to get done. And she's shorter than me. I know she tells me all the time. But you know what? I grew up with my mom volunteering, and that's one of the things my mom will always do for others. And those are one of the principles I learned from her, to always help others. It doesn't have to be big, and help without telling everybody that you're helping. So those are some of the principles that I utilize in my friendship. Just do like just whether sometimes if somebody runs on your mind, text them and says, hey, you good? You know how many times I've had long and great conversation just texting someone and says, hey, you good? And they'll tell you if they're good, or sometimes, I had a tough day. Like, good day. Hey, beautiful. Will brighten up the day. So thank you, Mama, for yes. So you have 15 minutes, and I mean 15 minutes, and to shop, use the restroom and all that. And when you come back at 6:45, the panel will begin. Thank you. Lord, yeah, I gotta take these heels off now.
Say, we just hear a name.
I'm just saying my name.
Yeah. We have one on what you're talking. It's okay.
They'll find out who we are.
Oh.
Yeah, right.
Say that. Say that again. I didn't hear that.
I said they'll figure out who we are after an hour. Yeah, we're not giving our own bios or
Yeah, they
anything.
can come in.
I'm just saying my name.
So we can run. Everybody knows who. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for being here today in this fabulous event. We're very happy to be sharing this moment when we're talking about female friendships and the sisterhood that we are all parting. And in this panel, we will be talking with some amazing women. We will introduce ourselves one by one, so you know who you're talking to in this beautiful panel. My name is Miguelina Peralta. For some of you that don't know me, and to the public that is watching us, thank you for joining us live as well. I am recently the director of development for Cultured Redesign, and more recently, a lot of you know me by my former role as executive director for E4L Greater Worcester. So, so happy to see some of the entrepreneurs here as well, shining bright. A lot of female entrepreneurs that we also like to support. So it's lovely to see that today. And I will pass on the mic to Stephanie.
Yes, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Stephanie Williams, and I am Chief Diversity Executive at Mount Wachusett Community College, which is in Gardner. Very happy to be here with some very strong women and to have such an important conversation. So thank you for having us this evening. My name is Jennifer Gaskin. I am the founder and president of the Worcester Caribbean American Carnival Association. Just happy to be here and have this conversation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mari Gonzalez, and I am the executive director of a community organization in the city of Worcester called El Buen Samaritano, translation, the Good Samaritan. And I'm also a foster parent for 10 years, fostered over 28 children, me and my husband. And I am so happy to be here and honored to be asked to be a panelist. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with our conversation. And the first question that we have for the panelists: how do you define female friendship? Stephanie.
Oh, me first. Okay. I think that's really subjective, but for me, I would say female friendship is really when you have a bond with somebody, when they're your spirit animal, so to speak, or your soulmate. I think it is important to have female relationships so that you can connect with folks who are like-minded and talk about things that you're impacted by, whether it be relationships, whether it be what it is to be a female and walk through the world as a female. Parenting, if you're a parent, all of those things. So female relationship is connection, it's bond, it's love, and it's soulmate. I think when folks think about soulmates, they think about partnerships. And so I would definitely have to say that a lot of my female friendships, those girls are my soulmates. Like they are definitely my soulmates. We cannot talk for weeks, which they don't like that I don't pick up the phone all the time. We start right back up where we left off. And so that's what female friendship is to me, that connection, that love, true love.
Okay, thank you very much for that.
Welcome.
Yes, and Jennifer?
I was thinking about what Suzanne was talking about earlier about, being Caribbean and raised in households where emotions really wasn't like a thing. And most of my friends growing up were also from Caribbean families. So we weren't really like touchy-feely about it or whatever the case may be. And when I was younger, friendship was about, we're going out, chilling, doing this, whatever, whatever. But as I've grown and evolved and my life has changed and the things that are important to me have changed, much like you, Stephanie, I see my friends as soulmates. And we connect, on a level that's different. Recently my husband passed away in November, and it is my friends that have continued to hold me up. And there was what was particularly impactful for me, and what I realized, like you said about the soulmates, and you could have space and time, but it doesn't change your relationship. When I made that call that day, my friends showed up. And I'm talking about friends that I've had for 30 years showed up. And like, I haven't talked to that person in like a year, but she was in my house when I got home.
Like nothing had happened.
Like nothing had happened. And and regularly from that point on, she checks on me. She might just text me. And like she told me the other day, she's like, you might not text back, but I just want to text you to make you know that I'm thinking about you. And that's what I feel like friendship is that connection, is that bond, somebody that's gonna uplift you, somebody's that's gonna tell you when you're wrong
That's right.
and it's okay. Y'all can have that conversation.
Yeah.
And they're also gonna celebrate you when you're good.
Yes. So strong what you're saying, because you're touching to a point that a lot of us has probably talked at some point in our lives, the importance of keeping those friendships, no matter when you get married or when your life takes another turn, because you never know when
If you get in
the
a
only
relationship with anybody who tries to separate you from your friends, get out of the relationship.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's a red flag right there.
That's a red flag.
Absolutely. Mary, how will you define friendship?
So, I mean, echo to what both of them said, and you know, it's really again, right, building that relationship, knowing that they're there for you when you can cry, you can vent, you can, just have that ear that, when you have going through those moments, and you can give them a call at any time and they pick up that phone, right? And sometimes I feel like I'm a bad friend sometimes. I'm gonna be honest. I'd be like, I am the worst friend. Because no, and I'm gonna tell you why, because we get so busy, right? I have a husband, I have kids, work, and I'm exhausted sometimes. But then I'd be like randomly, oh my God, do you want to have lunch? Do you want to have this? And then it's like, of course, but it's just when you have that person that's genuinely there for you and sees you, and again, she said, I have friends literally when I was in 5th grade, and we see each other a year ago, we're acting like we just saw each other when we were in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that's dope.
Yeah, it is dope.
And even though we don't really talk to each other, but I see her and she sees me, and it's like, I'm proud of you. I'm like, I'm proud of you. And and if I do need that person there, I know they're gonna be there for me. But also my circle is small as well. And you have to be really intentional who you bring into your circle, because sometimes people can take your friendship and take advantage of that. And you have to be very careful who you bring in. So I'm very intentional of who my friends are and who I bring in.
Yes.
Because you just got to.
You have to, right? And it doesn't matter if you have big circles, you can still have big circles, but still know who your inner circle is and who those friends are. Like I like to say that friend is the sister that you choose, right? Because we don't choose our family, even though we love our family, but you make a conscientious choice with a person. You and I are sisters. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, that we get to choose each other, to be in each other's lives. And going again to each one of you, what role has female friendship played throughout your life?
I'd still go next. Okay. So,
Yeah, we keep it up. We will stay consistent.
all right. So this is the theme. To come up with something good.
So we just
That's what I said. The middle would never be first.
That's okay. What role has female friendship played in your life?
So female friendship in my life has played a significant role. I've also had a significant loss in my life. And so when that loss did come about, my friends showed up. My friends showed up. I didn't have to call them. I didn't have to reach out. And I know sometimes when you have a significant loss like that, that people say, well, what can I do for you? My friends didn't wait to say, what can I do for you? They just
started
did.
doing it.
Right. And in that moment when you're grieving and it's such a traumatic experience, it was important. So one of my girlfriends came over with a bag of like supplies, paper towels, toilet paper, all this stuff. Another girlfriend came over with groceries. Another girlfriend came over and cooked. Another girlfriend came over and just did my laundry. And I was like, y'all need to leave. But I understand, you know, hindsight's 2020. In that moment, I was grieving so harshly that I wanted to cater to them. Right? Are they okay? Are they comfortable? And for me, my girlfriends were like, no, it's about you. And we don't pause and take time to protect our peace in so many ways. And especially when it's your girlfriend, you always want to make sure they're good, right? And that's a true girlfriend. You're making sure they're good, but they're also making sure you're good, right? And so it's a mutual thing. It's just not one. There is such thing as like toxic sisterhood, right?
Yes.
When the relationship is not reciprocated, right? Those aren't your friends.
Yes.
I'll tell you that
Yes.
right now. Yes, I too have a very small circle, and I'm very intentional about who I give my energy to and what I give my energy to. And so, female friendship is important to me. And there's sometimes where there's issues going on. I have one girlfriend who's about 7 years older than me, and she would say, when you hit 30, your body's gonna do things that you're not gonna expect it to do. And I was like, stop lying. That's your problem, not mine.
It does.
So,
What?
Girl. Right. It did.
yeah. So, what did you do about it? Is also a way that I have grown as I'm becoming a woman, right? I feel like I grow every day. It's all about growth, right? And just as emotions and feelings and how we change our clothes, we're very fluid. Human beings are very fluid. And so having that female friendship is really, I have 6 sisters. So I do have sisters, like from my mother's sisters, but these are the friends that you can reach out to and that you can talk to and have those conversations. So it was critical in developing and understanding who I am, and having female friendship was really important in my journey of becoming who I am today.
Thank you. Beautiful.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah, I share what you said. And I think, you know, throughout my life, females have come in and helped me to move on, right? Like how you were talking about, you know, when you hit the age of 30, this happens, or, you know, whatever. Those relationships have helped me to evolve, right? Because, you know, my friend may experience something and I go to her and I'm going through that with her and I have that experience with her, but that experience also changes me, right? Like you were talking about with loss. Like the people who have shown up for me, I'm sure the experience with me has changed them. And our friendship has now changed because we went through this experience together. And you know, again, like just being there, just being there for the person. Sometimes you don't have to talk. It's not about what you're saying. Sometimes it's just having that presence, right? And I think that has evolved too, right? For me, friendship doesn't have the same meaning to me today than it did when I was, you know, 18 or whatever. Like I said, back then it was more about, you know, who are your friends that you can go out with, hang out with, meet guys, do whatever the hell. Now my female friendships are more about who is bringing something to my spirit. Like, who do I connect with? Who does my spirit connect with? Who's filling me up? Right? Like when I go out to eat with Giselle, we eat, so we're full. But like just that energy that we share during that meal or whatever, and we don't even have, like, we could be talking about whatever, like whatever, but just that energy that we feel when we're together and that positivity. So it's like we could come into that after having an awful day, and then we sit down and have dinner or lunch or whatever and laugh and talk about whatever, and then we walk out and our spirit is better. That's what friendship is to me. Like, I don't want somebody who I'm coming into their space and you're creating chaos and you're disrupting my peace and whatever. No, I need people who friendship that helps my spirit, that lifts my spirit, that we grow together. And even in sad times, we're still connected and you're still giving me warmth and comfort and safety. So for me, that's what it is. It's warmth and comfort and safety.
That's great. Thank you very much. Mary, what has the friendship played a role in your life? How has it been?
So I learned that friendships, they have seasons. You have seasons with people. And sometimes those people are there for you for that season and that moment because you needed that person because of, that season. And it's okay to let go of certain people in your life because that season is over for them.
I know that's right. You can love people. Say it louder for those.
And it's so crazy because I have a 19-year-old daughter. I know you probably, oh my God, 19. Yeah, I have a 19-year-old. But she thinks I'm so. Thank you for.
That's what friends are for.
I got you, sis. But no, but to be honest, guys, we all go through seasons with friends and people in your life, and you have to be very careful and discern of like, okay, is that person ready to evolve with you for the next season, or is they're gonna hold you back? And I've met incredible people through my journey, and I love them and yo, what's up? I see you, and even right now in my season in life right now, I see incredible women in front of me that you guys are in my season. And I'm like, wow, I love what she's doing. I love because we're uplifting each other, things like that. But, because I see that we have some, some similar things that we do, right? Entrepreneurs, nonprofit, things that we do in the community and things like that. But it made me who I am, to be careful, letting the person know this is why, we don't rock anymore. But I mean, in a gracious way.
I'm a Capricorn. I don't even say
No, you don't.
I just cut.
Okay. And it's true. And sometimes you have to be like that because at the end of the day, you don't want nobody stopping you. You know what I'm saying? Because then what happens is like, wait a minute, but I just told them this happened to me and this and this and that. And what? How come they didn't say nothing? How come their reaction was different? I didn't expect that. So you're like, damn, I thought we were, So you just got to continue, reflect, self-reflect, know who you are and know what you want. And you're going to start, and you know who are your who are the real ones out there for you. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of people that see what you got and they tend to pull you so many different directions. And you're thinking they want to be your friend. They don't want to be your friend. They just want to know what you up to, girl.
What can they win at the moment, right?
Be careful. Be discerning. Be careful. Life is good. Everybody in this room has their own journey, and everybody's journey is different. Friends are gonna come and go, but at the end of the day, it's all you, right? But yeah. So
very good, very good. So now to switch things around, we'll start with Jennifer this time around.
See,
Nobody wants to go first, right? It's sometimes very difficult in a work environment to trust people. Sometimes we know that in workplaces, especially when sometimes we refer to corporate America or things like that, it's very difficult to trust people because people tend to be out for themselves and a lot of competition, a lot of betrayal in many ways. But once in a blue moon, you might find a pearl. Have you ever had a chance to make a friend at work?
Oh yeah,
that has worked?
absolutely. And it's interesting because again, going back to what Suzanne said, don't create like barriers to who can be your friend.
Mhm.
I thinking back to early in my career, when I worked at Boston Scientific, I met there was a woman there, and she's probably in her late 50s, white woman. She was adopted. Marilyn was her name. And me and Marilyn became best friends. I was probably, I don't know, in my 20s, 26, 27. Marilyn's 50 something, married, grown children. Like our lives couldn't be more different. But she, like I said, when we were together, it was warm, it was supportive. She always talked goodness into me. I always talked goodness into her. She was older, so she had wisdom. She has seen a lot more than I had seen. So she imparted that wisdom on me. And it was one of the most rewarding friendships that I've ever had.
Wow.
And I probably never would have, like, nobody ever would have put us together.
Yeah.
But we developed that relationship through trust.
And if it weren't for work, you wouldn't
I
have
would have never
connected
met. I would have
to
never met
different people,
Marilyn. I would have never
right?
met Marilyn. But that she was an amazing. Is an amazing person.
And sometimes it's that position that allows that we take from that wisdom.
Mhm.
Because as we grow up and we go to those stages that we think we know it all, right? Then family members we might not listen to.
Mhm.
But sometimes a friend that comes with more maturity, more experience, is that envelope that we need to be a little bit more open to receive that wisdom, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I love that. Mari, how was it for you? Have you ever been able to make a friend at work?
Yes, I've actually even had like the, you know what they, when they go on lunch and just, I actually just got invited to a wedding that I met this girl 20 years ago. We used to work in insurance. We used to work in insurance 20 years ago, guys. And we're still friends. And she's getting married, and I just got invited to the wedding. And those were my homegirls, even homeboys as well. And yes, I built a lot of relationships in the corporate setting. And what I loved about it is that they were always older than me. It's like they took me under the wing,
Yeah.
right? This is what's up. This is the boss. This is
Mhm.
what you know, and I appreciated that.
So there's a
You
little
know?
bit of mentoring into the friendship, right?
Yes, and then they used to crack up because I will speak Spanish as well, and one of them knew Spanish, and then I would say some words in Spanish that it was not the right word, and she'll be in the cubicle like, yo, that's not the word. You know what I'm saying? But looking out for me and stuff like that. But well, I remember those days. Those days were fun. But I'm still friends. I'm still friends with them. I'm still friends with them.
That's awesome. What about you, Stephanie?
See, now I can answer that first. I've been waiting to answer.
That's okay.
Good. So let me answer it first, but then I'm gonna keep doing it. I, if you know me, you know I show up as me. Nobody else can
Right.
do it
Yup.
better. So I'm gonna be honest. No, there are no friends at work. And let me try to articulate why from me. I can only speak for Stephanie's experience. I am not speaking for all Black women. I am not speaking for anybody else. I want to make that very clear. As a Black woman who has most of my professional career, quite frankly, God is good. I have been very blessed to be in positions where I've been in leadership roles or cabinet or executive roles for a big majority of my career. And so, and I'm usually not anymore. I'm not in my 30s anymore. I know I talked about 30s, whatever. But I'm usually the youngest one in the space based on what I'm doing. And so because of sexism, ageism, and racism, I know that folks are in the workplace because that's their bread and butter, right? And nobody's hurt me, so don't say, who hurt her? Nobody. But I know that you're at work as your place of employment. This is how you pay your bills. This is how you feed your kids. And when things come down to it, that person at work that you kiki with, if they want to either get a higher position or if they want to deflect on what's happening with them, if they mess something up and they can blame somebody else, usually who's the person? The Black woman. I've seen it happen from me, again, Stephanie's experience. So I am not your friend. You can be my associate. We can go to lunch. We can key. You can maybe even come over. But what I won't do is put myself in vulnerable positions around you. We're not going out for cocktails, right? We're not going to be calling each other at night because I don't want to hear the gossip, right? I also protect my peace at work. And so my colleagues who are my associates, they can call and check in every once in a while. Hey, you going to this? Hey, you going to this? But I don't want to talk about work. This is my space. And I think it's really important to have those boundaries. And again, for me as a Black woman, I make it very intentional. And because people will switch on you, right? Like, I think people have read the news, you know what's going on. I think it is very important to only let so much in, right? And somebody else as a Black woman may say complete opposite, but you're not going to know my business, right? Like, because you're not going to use that against me when it works to your advantage, right?
Yes.
So you know of me, I'm cordial, I know of you, but that's about it. And if you think you know my story, you're not reading the right book.
Yeah.
So no friends at work.
Yeah.
Ever.
And it may sound hard, but
Right, that was her.
point.
That was her question.
That was your
She should
question.
have went first because she's right. She's 100% right.
No, I absolutely, and I think it changes
Yeah.
depending on where you are
Where
in your
you
career.
are, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like I was an individual contributor at that point, right? But now I'm in a leadership position and have been for probably, the past 10 years or whatever. So my perspective is different.
Yes.
My
Yes.
perspective
It
is
is,
very different. It's like now I'm more like you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we can be cool, we can kiki,
That's
you
it.
can whatever. But like you're not gonna know my business.
Right.
Yes.
To your point. Like you're not. There's a certain level that I can get in terms of trust
Camaraderie or
or camaraderie, but it takes a long time. Because as you said, I'm a Black woman and I've been burned.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like put in flames. Like
Right.
you know what I mean? So you most of the time you're gonna be here.
Yeah.
And even if you think you're here.
Someone will remind you.
Yeah, you're here.
Real quick.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And to your point, that's something that even I personally wish that I knew years ago. Because in my case, I come from a cultural shock. I immigrated to the United States as an adult already. When I came here, I already had a career. And a lot of my best friends that I still hold to this day are from those first few jobs that I had, even around the world. I have quite a few friends around the world, very good friends, and people that I hold dear to my heart. But learning how things are in the United States.
Different. Yep.
The cultural shock of, knowing that you even have to watch your back from that person that is having lunch with you. It's been a tough realization for me because I've been burned. And probably the past 3 jobs, the one that I've held in the United States, I feel myself like I couldn't cultivate a lot of friendships from those environments because people were getting close to take advantage of what they knew of the other person or what they could do. So I saw that firsthand.
Yeah, and I want to make it clear, I don't block my blessings. You can be my associate, we could be cordial, but I'm just.
But life will tell, right?
Situations where people thought you were my friend. I don't know why I didn't tell you were my friend.
Yes.
You don't even know my.
Who you know my
For me as well, again, my story, I could be very goofy, I could be silly, I can be funny, but I stand on business in the end, right? And so people will see that goofy side or that funny side and think they're really cool with me. But when it comes down to do business, they think they're still like it's still playtime. And I stand on business. At work, I'm not playing, right? I take my job very seriously. Work ethic is very strong with me, right? And if I'm going to accept that paycheck, I'm going to do what I committed to do.
Yes, and sometimes you have to protect it because there are people,
Correct.
whether you know it or not, after that.
Correct.
Plus, you also got to be careful in the sense of people, especially when you're in a leadership position, and people try to position themselves as your friend.
Right.
They think that means that you're gonna let them slide.
Yeah.
Like I can be, I'm cool. Like everywhere I am, I'm just Jennifer. Like it is what it is. You're getting what you're getting. And so people will see that and say, oh, well, like she's cool. Okay, we're cool. So I can do blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
And it's like,
Right.
this is work.
Right.
We don't do that here.
Correct.
Yes.
So I don't know why you thought you could do that here.
Correct.
Or they'll think because we're friends and let's say I'm the boss and they'll think we're friends. So that means they can move like me. No, I'm the boss.
Correct.
Yes.
Right.
I move how I move.
That right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
You stay in your lane.
Right. I don't
Yes.
care how your weekend was.
Yes.
Right,
Exactly.
right,
You,
right.
you don't
No, you don't need to know that.
We're not friends.
to do that. So there are, again, being a Black woman working in predominantly white spaces, and this, I'm not going to make this about race, but I'm speaking my truth. Being
But
a
it
Black
is.
woman, I have had several times people say, "Oh my God, you're my first Black friend." First of all, who told you that?
What? Somebody said that?
It's like they want to talk it, right?
So, A, what made you think I'm your friend?
Yeah.
So I asked that question. I asked that.
Uh-huh.
And B, what makes you think that you can say that out loud to me?
Wow.
Right? So let's talk about that.
Honestly, you should be ashamed. I feel like you should be ashamed to say it.
I sometimes meet people where they are with a non-judgmental frame.
That's
So
embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
I inquire instead of judge and scold.
Okay, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing.
No blaming or
Not
shaming.
color.
No blaming or shaming. I just say, tell me more. But I want to be very clear, I'm not your friend. So that's where that comes from. So,
Yes.
yes.
I can't be your. If I'm your first Black friend, I don't want to be your friend.
These are
You don't want to be the test pilot.
No, I don't want to be your friend if I'm your first Black. No, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
And I think it's important for us to acknowledge that part of race and that part of gender as well, because I kid you not, a few months ago I was talking with a person about a job that was open, and they were talking about how this job it had a lot of responsibility that will even spill into the weekends. And then somebody was talking how they would like to test the new person in how willing they were to do the job if they were available over the weekends. And then I asked how they deal that, not immediately, because they will tell what you're after, but a little after. Then I asked, how was the situation with the previous incumbent? The previous incumbent was a white person. The behavior was different. They wanted to take care of the problems on the weekend and then impress the white person on Monday with what they did over the weekend. So a person of color will be tested and will get calls on a Sunday.
Right.
But a white person, and they didn't even know that
They didn't even consciously know what they
register what they were saying. They would like to impress the other person because that's what they were doing when they had a person that they thought had more whatever better than them because of race. They would like to not call them on a Sunday and impress them on a Monday with the results.
Yeah, I'm not playing that.
And
I want to make sure the mic is on.
sometimes that's what's happening, that you are being held to a different standard. That if you want,
That's wild.
yeah, and that happens, absolutely. And in that same token, for our next question, and I will ask Maddie, have you ever been betrayed by a friend? It's friendship, the beautiful and the ugly.
Yes.
What have you learned from the experience?
You're not my friend no more. I mean, yo,
Yes.
keeping it real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peace. Nice knowing you. May God continue to bless you somewhere else. But of course,
Yes.
yeah, but not around me.
Yes.
You know, again, I said this before earlier, right? Everybody has a season in your life. And not everybody's gonna evolve with you, or not everyone's gonna be in the journey with you. And again, going back to sisterhood and who has your back and stuff like that, man, jealousy is ugly. I'm gonna say it again. Jealousy is real and it's ugly
It's also dangerous.
and it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
It is. So you have to know yourself. When you know yourself and you know what you got and you know your purpose and you know where you're going to be going, you don't got to worry about nobody else. And that friend, yeah, peace out. Nice knowing you. But it happens. So if I have a daughter, again, I said I have a 19-year-old and a 10-year-old. And I tell my 19-year-old, you know, those girls that you had in high school are no longer going to be your friend.
Yeah.
right? Those high, back in the day and stuff like that.
My son, my
And
19-year-old too.
she's like, when she was in high school, and her friends are not her friends no more because everybody went, excuse me, their own different ways, and not everybody is your friend. No, you know her. She's your acquaintance. Have a 10-year mama have a new BFF. Who? Because I don't know her. I don't know their parents. How is she your BFF? I'm just trying to teach her in that way. Like, how is she your BFF? How is she your best friend in the whole world? Right? And just teaching them to be careful of who they bring in and who they talk to and share with and things like that. But yeah, man, but it happens. And it's crazy because I'm in my 40s and it happens now and being a grown up. It's like your worst enemy could be a 65-year-old and you're like, why?
Like, grandma, what's
What
up?
are you doing? Not saying that I had that right now, but I'm just saying, like, it's like, but you don't let that bother you, because when you know yourself and you know your intentions, your purpose, nothing is gonna phase you. So that's what I got.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna answer it different though, because you said, "Have you ever had any friends betray you?" No, because they weren't my friends.
That's right. There you go.
Very good.
Sorry. I'm like, yeah, girl.
Yeah.
It's funny
Sometimes you
because
just discover it on that moment.
yeah,
but
no, you weren't my friend. It's funny because my husband would like if I would get a new friend and I bring her around and my husband would be like, And I was always, you don't want me to have any friends. Like every person I bring around, you got a problem with the person or whatever. But then the months would go by, and then I was like, damn, he was freaking right. She is whatever it was, right? And he had to teach me. I had so much trauma in my life growing up that he had to teach me to trust my intuition again. Because I wouldn't try. I would, oh, well, she's nice. So what could be wrong? Right? So here I go trotting down the thing and come to find out you're not my friend.
Yeah.
So now, like you said earlier, I'm very intentional about it. I'm very intentional about if you come around me and you give me a bad vibe, oh, I'm done. I'm off of it.
That's right.
I'm not even going to try to figure out why I got a bad vibe. It's just a bad vibe. I'm off of it.
Life is short.
I'm done. So that's just how I would say no, because if they betrayed you, then they really wasn't your friend to begin with.
Yeah, very good point. Thank you.
Jennifer basically said it. I
Yeah.
100%. And I was really trying to think hard. I was going in my Rolodex.
Right, like is there? But no, everybody that
No.
did that mess wasn't your friend.
Right. I have.
But sometimes you go to the heartbreak of finding out the heartbreak.
Yeah, it's a heartbreak. Right.
Be considered my friend. Have I had that experience? Yes. But you weren't my friend anyway. It's kind of, I look at it very much like a relationship, right? Your friendship is a relationship.
Oh,
So just like a man, if he's going to step out on you, he wasn't yours to begin with, right?
Right.
And I also live with the fact that nobody owns anybody, right? Like we're not property. Nobody owns anybody. And so a relationship can easy come, easy go. Just like I wouldn't say a friendship, because again, if you're easy come, easy go, you're not my friend. So again, I guess an acquaintance.
Right.
Could've
I
done
know
some-
you.
Yeah.
I know you.
Could have done some fugazi stuff, but a friend, no.
Not ever. Yeah, that's a very good point. The other day I came across one of those talks on social media saying about anyone who has ever gone against your well-being, your family, your friendship, your source of income, whatever. Like the first time they did it, that's enough proof that they're not into you. If you let them back again in your life, they're just gonna do it bigger next time. So we have to be wise, and like you said, just grow into that discernment that we need to be more discriminatory when it comes to selecting who's going to be a friend.
And I think for
Or
women
not.
in particular, and I shouldn't say that because I don't know how men work, so I can't say that. But for women, a lot of times let's say you have a friendship with somebody, and then you meet somebody new, and you start to develop a relationship with that person, and then the original person gets jealous, like you were just saying. Nobody's your property, right? And the way I feel about it is somebody's truly your friend, then if you love the person, they should love the person. I'm not saying they gotta be friends with the person or build a relationship for the person, whatever. But if they see that person is good for you and is loving you and caring for you, they should support that. The
Yes.
same way that they're loving and caring for you, they should support that. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a competition about who's gonna be the
Yes.
friend or who's not gonna be the friend. That should never be.
Correct. And I think that type of jealousy and territorial behavior, it's immaturity. It's
Yep.
behavior that we bring from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
That cliquey mentality that I'm the bestie and everybody else has.
Yeah, you can't
You gotta,
be. Yeah, no.
exactly. It's just like people that don't outgrow those stages and
Mhm.
stay with that cliquey behavior. Very good point. And I would like to bring the attention to something that you mentioned earlier. When we are in positions of leadership, how delicate it is to understand that you get the attention of so many people. And sometimes you have to understand that it's not about you, it's just because of the role that you're playing in that particular moment. And there's nothing more enlightening than going through seasons of life and seeing that difference when people change, right? And have you experienced that as you?
Definitely. I mean, it's definitely how people approach you, how people perceive you changes based on your role. And in particular, as Black women, again, like I said, I hate to keep bringing that up, but as Black women, it absolutely is different, right? Like if somebody, you see me here, this is how I normally look. This is how I walk around normally. Now, if I'm going to work and I'm more dressed up like Stephanie, somebody's gonna perceive me differently walking around like this than they perceive me when I walk around like that. Right? And that's the power dynamic, right? Because they assume when I look like that I have some status. Whereas when they see me like this, they assume whatever. You're just regular. You're just a regular person.
I'm regular smegular too.
Yeah, I'm regular smegular all the time. But they that's where that power dynamic. So when you're in a leadership position, it's even more important that you protect yourself.
That's
It's even more important that you are intentional about who's in your bubble.
Correct.
Because people are gonna try to take advantage of your status.
Yes, exactly. And Stephanie, I'm sure you have experience with that, right? With dealing with the rise and change of attention
Yes.
from people as
just
you
a little
go up
bit. Just a little bit.
from leadership positions, right?
Yes, yes, and yes. And I would agree with what you said in terms of how you present. And I actually, right before I came here, I was talking to a group of high school students at Fitchburg High, their Black Student Union, and they were asking me a lot of questions. And one of the things that I was saying was, somebody asked me where I was from because they heard an accent. And I was saying, well, we all have accents, right? So I lived in New York for a while. And I guess when I say certain things, you hear the New York. I also lived down south for a while. So
like you drink coffee?
I don't know. I say coffee. Yeah. But I'm from Worcester. I know. I'm from coffee. I'm from Worcester. And then when people hear me say Worcester, they're like, you're not from Worcester because you pronounce your R's, right? Or whatever it is. And so they had asked me where I was from because they heard the accent. And I was explaining to them. And again, in my professional portfolio, I've been in hierarchy positions or leadership positions, which is a blessing. I don't say that to brag. I say that with gratitude and humble.
As a Black woman, that is a bag on.
Yes. And I earned every last.
You daggone right.
Just want to put some respect on that. Yes, just want to let people know. So I was saying how it was really interesting, and this was another place of professionalism where people would credential me. And so I was explaining to them when people would, because I still had a very much country accent, people would say, where are you from? Or where did you go to school? And to me, right there, you're only asking me because that's going to determine how much respect you put on me. That's it.
Oh, yes.
You really don't care. We don't have anything in common. You don't want to know. You want to know because you're
qualifying me.
You want to put a judgment.
Right. How much respect are you going to give me based on how I respond?
Or how educated are you?
Right. Because if I say I went to Harvard or Yale, even with that accent,
you're good.
Oh,
you're
I'm
fine.
good.
Yeah,
right.
You're fine.
Correct. And so, yes, I have had that where in the workplace, you kind of have to code switch, right? And that's real.
It
That's
is real.
I always show up authentic with who I am. Nobody else can do it better. I'm not fugazi. I'm not a fraud, but I am very aware of how I present. I'm very aware of the trope of the angry Black woman when you're being assertive, especially in a leadership role. I'm very aware of the trope of being that strong Black woman and that BS
Remember.
around resilience. You can be resilient.
I
Yeah.
hate
If I
that
have
word.
another person
Somebody
tell me
else is
about
firm.
resilience,
Somebody else is
Right.
firm, but you know you're angry, right?
right, I'm a Black woman in America. Don't tell me about resilience. You're not teaching me jack.
Correct.
Right? So that, first of all. So yes, in these roles and in these positions, because when I have a true friend, I don't want to have to code switch, right?
Right.
I'm not doing that. If you're my friend, I'm showing up exactly how I feel in the moment. And so I don't remember what the question was.
No, we are fluid in the conversation. Yeah. So
Okay.
don't worry. Go with the flow.
She's in her elements right now.
Yeah, I
Good
know.
stuff, go stuff.
Workmanship, like if I have to code switch like I do every day at work,
Exactly. And then about the leadership, when you're in
in that
how people
leadership
pay more
position,
attention or less to you, depending
yes,
on
and that is
your-
intentional. And I realize that. I realize that there are certain behaviors that I can't display in certain positions or at certain times, or I have to be mindful, right? And I always say, like, racial battle fatigue is real. Like the invisible labor that goes into the work that I do, and having some of these conversations when somebody who's ignorant says, "You're my first Black friend," and not
That's
lashing out and
wild.
responding back.
That's just wild.
Right. I
Yeah.
want to respond, not react. Right. And so the intellectual and emotional labor that goes into that is
Oh
real.
yes. You
And
have to
so-
pull off that head to be able to.
Correct. So when I'm around my friends, we're not doing any of that. There's none of that. Like,
Right. We telling it how it is. Yep.
Yeah.
right, whoever, exactly. We're
Telling it
that,
how it is.
even if we don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
Right.
correct.
So yes, I have had that experience.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. And yeah, very strong. And in that regard, we still are still growing, right? And still have a lot of life ahead of us. How do you stay open to the possibility of making a new friend? And I will ask Mari too.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to let people really in. I let them in, but where I'm at right now, it's really hard right now. I've been blessed to be married for 22 years to my best friend. Thank you. And he's my best friend. And I would just want to acknowledge both of you that I know that grieving everybody grieves differently, and you continue to grieve and continue to share those moments that you guys had with your loved ones, because I felt it. And and I love what you said about how your husband knew what's up. And let me tell you, my husband knows what's up. And he be like,
Get rid of that one.
I'm very careful who I bring to my home.
Yes.
I'm very careful who I bring around my children. Protect your home. Protect your kids. Just go out for coffee here and there with outsiders and things like that. But if I find am I open to new friendships? Absolutely. But it's gonna take a lot of. I'm guarded. I'm guarded. I've been a foster parent for 10 years, and and I have to be careful because I'm not their mom or their dad, right? But I show them love, I show them respect, I show them kindness. And that's what I do with everybody here. If everybody knows me, I'm like, hey, I love my, and that's me. That's who you're gonna get. And we got to be careful. I'm in the time of my life right now that I'm just very careful and selective.
Takes a little longer.
Yeah, it's gonna take longer. It's gonna take longer. So that's
Good. Okay, Jennifer.
I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that I wouldn't, but I think it would take a lot.
Yeah.
Like I just I don't have a whole lot of patience for foolishness. Um, and I'm not gonna tolerate, like, you're not gonna disrupt. And I feel like a lot of people are walking around unhealed
Yes.
and with a lot of
Oh
trauma,
wow, yeah.
and then they want to bring that into the
That's right.
relationship. And it's like, I got my own stuff that I'm trying to work through. I don't need your stuff. But like you know, my husband and I were together for 23 years. We were married for 13 of those 23. And he was my best friend.
Mhm.
So I didn't really need nobody else, right? So if you got in, you were lucky because I didn't really need nobody. Um, so I mean, I have my core friends, and I just kind of ride with that. I'm not looking for nothing. But I do realize that, the universe does what the universe does. So if it happens, it happens. But I wouldn't say like I'm open to new friends. Like,
Mhm.
I'm fulfilled. I don't need.
Okay. How about you, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Are you as open, or how do you stay open to?
I am. I do believe in sisterhood, right? And very similar. I was married for 21 years. And so if you got in, you got in.
Yeah,
My
you got in.
husband was my best friend.
Mhm.
And I also think when we talk about sisterhood and when we talk about friendship, I think you have to be whole, just like any other relationship.
Mhm.
You have to be whole. Sometimes I need to be a sister to myself. The
Mhm.
same advice and the same help that I would run and give a friend, sometimes I have to give myself.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to fill my own well,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And so a friend to me, a true friend, not an acquaintance, not like a sister, like, hey sister,
Mhm.
but a true friend doesn't keep you built up, right? That's not their responsibility, nor should you put that on
No,
them.
you need to do
A
that for
true
yourself.
friend just makes you better, but you need to be whole first. And
Yes.
so right now, I'm not guarded, I'm not closed off. I definitely like to be nurtured by sisterhood, right? And having these conversations and having interesting talks like we did at the last event.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
This time next month, I'm ready.
I'll
Yeah, you there. So that is important to me. But I right now in my life, my season right now is I don't have the bandwidth, right? Because I do think, again, it has to be a reciprocal relationship. And all of my friends now, although they know I say I'm a bad friend because I call them very rarely, they call me, but they know, and I was saying this earlier, they know, like, even if we don't talk for like 6 months, because that's when they'll call me and be like, I can't stand you. They leave all these terrible words on my voicemail. And I'm like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
So then I have to call them back because they're really upset. Or they're like, I'm going to do a wellness check because I haven't heard from you. They live in other states. That's why I know. So that's love. They love me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we pick right up where we left off,
Yep.
right? But just my personality type, I am not calling you once a week. I'm not checking
Yeah.
in
That's
on
not
you.
me.
Like I have my own. But if you are in jail, I'm there,
Yeah.
right? If you need to find out what your other partner's
Exactly.
doing and you need
We'll
to,
go and we're
we're going, right?
We're riding.
Yeah. Someone's messing with you,
Right.
I'm booking my
Right.
plane ticket
Right.
now,
Well,
right?
But that's what
We're
I'm
doing it
saying.
in
That's what
fine,
I
right?
mean. Like,
I
when I
got you.
put that call out, when I say, yo, like, actually, let me let me even start there. I think I called one person.
Wow.
And people, your friends.
I think I called one person and everybody showed up.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Like, my friend group was like, yo, because when I got to my house, they were already there.
Yeah.
And there was definitely people there that I didn't call.
Exactly. Nice.
So, like you said, I don't have to talk to you every day.
Yes.
But if I put that call out, like, hey, I need you. I mean, I might have two good friends. One lives in Newton, one lives in Boston. And I don't even know how it happened, but it was like a work day.
Mhm.
And for whatever reason, they ended up at my house.
Mhm.
And I was like, I don't want to be alone. Like, I can't sleep when I'm not alone, here alone. I'm like, can y'all just stay here until I go to sleep? Like, I know it's like midnight, but like, can you just stay here until I fall asleep? And I don't know when I fell asleep,
Yeah.
but I know that they were there until I fell
Exactly.
asleep.
Exactly. And one important thing, I think that adults should not be guilt tripping one another, right? That those friends that we are all busy, we have responsibilities to take care of. It's beautiful just to take off again from whatever point instead of the guilt trip. You haven't called me or you didn't do this. Everybody's just busy.
Yeah.
One thing that I do even with my own sister, like she has 2 kids that are my love as well. And when they are coming from a school, and if she and I are on the phone, she knows that she can just hang up and let me know that okay, they're here, because I am the first person that want her look at them in the eye, say hello. Like you don't need to excuse yourself for 5 whole minutes to get me off the phone, right? So as friends, we need to do that to each other. Okay, you're busy. Okay, bye. Nice catching up, Leah. So not holding on to that standard from childhood where we didn't have any responsibilities, right? And in this adult life, we have a lot of things going on at the same time. And that's beautiful when friends learn how to respect that, right?
Those are your friends who know it, right?
Yeah.
That you don't have to say anything. They know when to come and sit and be quiet and listen, right? Don't give me your unsolicited feedback.
Right. Unless I need it, because sometimes somebody got to tell me about myself.
To give
Yeah, like they're like, excuse me, Stephanie.
Yeah. You were wrong.
Excuse me.
Be able to do that in a way that it's not judgmental. What I love about my girlfriends is that even when I'm being reckless, whatever that looks like, or do something or say something, they can pull me in, right? Instead of calling me out, they call me in.
Yep,
right?
yep. They're not embarrassing. Yes, but they're not going to embarrass.
And they do it in a loving way versus a judgmental way, where I feel like if you're judging me, now I can't confide in you and now I can't show up.
I don't feel safe.
Right.
That's where you lose the safety.
So my friends know that they're not going to put any expectations on me. And when they do that, I know it's love, right?
Yeah.
And so they can say, I feel I'm concerned about you because I haven't heard from you. I'm not telling you that you have to call me. I'm checking in because I haven't heard. You good? And sometimes like, yeah, of course I'm good. I'm just busy. And then my friend would be like, oh, I'm so proud of my big boss girlfriend up there in Boston. And I'm like, it's not like that. But that's it. Sometimes that's all the conversation we have. And then we'll catch up the next weekend.
Another
and talk
time.
for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Right? So
yes, and to that point, I wanted actually to bring something very similar to the table. The importance of us keeping it, because we are almost there. So to wrap up, we have our and you all mentioned the friendship with your husbands. I'm also married, and he's my best friend. But the difference in the way that we relate, I think it's important for us to maintain the female friendships. Because if I were to tax him with everything that I want to talk about,
Exactly.
Yes.
and how long I would like to go on, we will be killing those guys, right?
Absolutely.
They say that women talk about 5,000 words a day, and men are around like 2,000, something like that. So even just that, like the different ways that we connect, brings an importance to keeping those friendships. What do you think about that? The difference between those girl friendships and the husband?
there's a huge difference,
yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
first of all, I'm not going to talk to my husband about my body shift at the age of 30.
Right.
We don't know nothing about that.
Right. I'm still cute to him.
Right. Things the same.
Let's mind your business.
Right.
But I'm going to call my girlfriend and be like, why is one higher than the other?
Right. Yes, exactly.
Because that's my husband. He doesn't need to be burdened with that. I'm cute.
Right.
So yes, I do think it's a different relationship. And also there's a different respect, right? This is the person that you're going to be with for the rest of your life. This is the person that you're going to take care of, right? And even if my best friend I'm going to be with for the rest of life, I don't necessarily expect to be their caretaker, right? And I don't have that same intimacy,
Yeah, I
right?
was just
That
gonna
you
say
have
Yes.
with a
intimacy.
spouse, with your partner.
Yeah.
You're
Mhm.
intimate in physical bodily ways that you're not with your friend. And that changes the dynamic, of course. And I've made a commitment to you make a commitment to your spouse, right? Like you make a commitment to your partner. Till death do you part, and you would hope that you'd have those friendships that long, but it is very different because it's a covenant. It's not just a statement. It's not just a ring. It's not just a piece of paper. We were talking about the Bible earlier. It's a covenant, and there's a big difference between a commitment and a covenant. And I feel like I commit to being best friends with my girlfriends or friends with my friends in general, but I have a covenant with my partner and my spouse. That's the difference.
Plus, the experience is different, right? Like, I can talk to my husband about, what happened to me at work, with the whatever, but his perspective is going to be different. Like, he maybe hasn't experienced those same things that I've experienced or whatever. So, like, and like you said, the intimacy, right? It's, for me, like, I talk to my husband about things that I would never talk to anybody else about, right? Or, in him the same, right? So it's just a different relationship, a different perspective, a different piece of you that you're sharing with that other person. Um, yeah, I think that's
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree with the ladies. Um, I need my girlfriends. I need
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
circle. I need to be like, listen, this man is driving me crazy.
oh, that too. It's big money.
Yeah, because it's we relate, right? As married, a lot of my friends are married with children, so it's relatable. We talk about, right, our body changes. We talk about kids. We talk about the husbands, right? We talk about all these different things, and you also have your friends that will tell you off whenever they need to tell you off, or be like, "What's wrong with you?" or "What's going?" And you need that. You need somebody to check you here and there, and I love it, and I appreciate that, and the fact that they keep it real with you, all the time, even makes it's just amazing. Sometimes a lot of them don't come to my events. I keep them it's very small, but they'll hear and see certain things, and they'll be like, "Listen, why you did that, or why you said something like that," or and they'll be like, "Maybe you should have done this different," or "pa pa pa pa," So you need that. Um, and I love it. I wouldn't change my circle for the world.
And you need a group of folks to talk
And
to about your spouse.
yeah,
So you makes your relationship healthier, right? Because in your relationship, you're gonna pick your battles, right? So I could call Giselle and be like, "Yo, this freaking dude gets on my nerves. Like, I literally want to hit him with a frying pan." We're gonna
And also the fact that we need to also take care of their well-being, and their well-being might not be to talk all day or
right.
go through every topic forever like we would like to, dissect a topic until the very end, right? So also to protect their mental peace, share that part that what they are able to share with us, and then keep that part of the girl friendship that we can enjoy on our own with our equal gender friends, or identifying as women that we share in a different way. So that's the beauty of that, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I also think I would say that for me, I know that typically your partner, that they have your back. You expect them to have your back. You expect them to be rooting for you. I love it when I'm talking to my girlfriends and they're just so proud of me, or
yes.
whatever it is.
I
Right?
love that.
So to know that they're out there as my cheerleaders, or they're my hype person, even just for me, and I'm like, I need to
Yes.
call you every day.
Yeah.
Your spouse is going to do that, but when you live together and it's your partner, it's spouse, it's very different. And so knowing that there's a tribe out there that find your vibe and you'll find your tribe. I do think it needs to be organic, and so I think that's also a difference, is knowing that even though you expect your partner to root for you,
Very nice.
but to know your friends are definitely out there rooting for you and proud of you.
Awesome. And this is a beautiful conversation. I know that we could go on for hours, but we need to, call it to a point for tonight. And I would like to thank you, and with a round of applause.
Can I do Can I do a shout out? Can I do a shout out? So we're talking about sisterhood, and I just want to shout you out, Giselle, because You can't because you know D's calling you a crybaby right now. That morning, I called Giselle at like 7 o'clock in the morning. And honestly, I don't even know to this day what the hell I said to you. But I know that you said to me, I'm on my way. And that is sisterhood. So I appreciate you. I love you.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, ladies. That was
Awesome. So as you guys know me, my name is Giselle Rivera Flores, and can you hear me? Awesome. Speak up louder. All right. Okay, but before we dig in, I just wanted to do a little something, a little icebreaker, and in celebration of Women's History Month. So initially, I called Suzanne last minute, was like, hey, can you tag all these seats with numbers? She obviously was like, no, because that's a lot of work. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, did you? Oh, she did it anyway. So all of you guys have a number on your seat. They're underneath. Yes, right up there. And I'm going to pick a few numbers, and you're going to answer this question out loud. Okay, you guys ready? So seat number 10. Who's seat number 10? Okay, Stephanie. So you have to answer this question. If you can add a female face to Mount Rushmore, who would it be? Girl, that was fast. I like that. And obviously, why? There you go. Oh, no.
What she wasn't instead of powering and making herself small and woman she showed up and made herself big and said, y'all should be my friend.
Yes, I like that. So number 22. Check those tags. You don't get a prize. You'll take it? All right. Fiona, what is the best lesson a woman has taught you?
I guess I was thinking about my grandmother. Yeah, now it's she always used to say, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger." Yeah. When I growing up, I went through a lot of hardships, so she always used to say, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger."
That's a good one. I think a lot of us live by that. Number, what do I got here? Number 30? Can we go that far? Who got 30? Okay, stand up. So hopefully he's an ally. We're about to find out. Can you tell us about someone that has been an admiration to you that you look up to that is a woman? And if they're present in this room, please have them stand. Aww. But that's not it. And why? You have to answer why.
Everybody get up and tissue like that.
Loyalty. To be that strong, wrongfully, and not just be strong mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, but to be the type of thing that she does, like
Sis, I'm from Texas. I've never been to this many events in my life. Much. A hustle and bustle, every seat there. You got a picture that big group. That's it. And that's all.
Okay, he's an ally. He can stay. How about number 40? This is our last question. Do we go that far back?
Way back. I got a little bit back.
Karen got it. Woo! I love Karen. She knows that. Karen, who is your famous and favorite female character in a movie and why? No one? How about in real life? How about in real life? Yes, right after. How about in real life?
Favorite hobby. I probably have like 6 women that not favorite for life. They're just especially.
Thank you. I love that. Yes, I do.
When you look back.
Oh, I can visually see her walking away from the car. Go ahead, Bree.
I had two. To just run straight over the car, like Tawanda. That could be me at any day. And also the lady from the house, just eat my.
Yes. So I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone participating in that. I just wanted to show how far and diverse our sisterhood really goes, from fictional characters to real characters, and how they impact our lives. So from Mount Rushmore to, fried green tomatoes, we realize that women obviously make a huge impact. So thank you for doing that. So let's dive in. So thank you, Suzanne, for having me here today as we close out Women's History Month. To all the women who spoke before me, ditto. It is an honor to be here to share space with so many women I admire, work alongside, and am eager to connect with. I was looking for some new faces, but I can't find any. And to my homie Jennifer, you're a real one, and I'm happy you're here. I always had to shout her out. When Suzanne reached out to me about speaking at her event to celebrate our local community of powerful women, I instantly said yes. She asked me, by the way. She didn't tell me. Thank you. But when she reached out to me a few days later to be her keynote speaker, I said, yeah, I got you. In which she replied, hey, that's the name of my event. I got you, sis. So like Suzanne's thought process, the instantaneous I got you commentary is at the basis of our sisterhood. When we look around the room, not this one, women are often sitting isolated, away from the conversation and decision-making process, and are going unnoticed. It is in these moments that we start to look around in self-doubt and wonderment, asking ourselves, why are we here? We obviously do not fit in. Internal conversations like these are plentiful and more frequent than we like to admit to ourselves and to others. We wonder whether we deserve to be in spaces we are in, and if we deserve the careers we have had, and even the network and net worth that we hold. So raise your hand if you've ever been agonized over the smallest mistakes or flaws in your work. Raise your hand if you attribute your success to luck or outside factors. Anyone feel lucky when they're at work? Raise your hand if you feel sensitive to criticism. Way in the back. And raise your hand if you downplay your own experience, even in areas where you are genuinely more skilled than other people. So for those who have raised your hands, you are not alone. You are simply suffering in silence from imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, according to psychologists Suzanne Imes and Pauline Rose, is a psychological experience of feeling like a fake or a phony despite any genuine success that you have already achieved. This imposter syndrome creeps up anywhere of importance, like in the context of work, relationships, and friendships. It is so sneaky, yet it holds so many of us back from the self-confidence we've earned and deserve from the hard fucking work we do day in and day out. This uninvited feeling causes us to unrealistically assess our competence. So we start to wonder if we're less intelligent than we thought. This uninvited feeling causes us to berate our own performances. We say things like, I'm not good enough. The uninvited feeling causes us to set very challenging goals and then feeling disappointed when we fall short. We start to wonder why we are not where we want to be based on our age, where we come from, and not specifically on our journey. But the weirdest part of all of this is that women who suffer from imposter syndrome are often high achievers, they're extremely accomplished, and they're impressive fucking people. From the outside looking in, no one would be able to understand and begin to comprehend why these women suffer from imposter syndrome. They seem to have it all, and they don't understand why they're suffering at all. These women are at the top of their game, and in fact, many of them are running the game. Based on research by Dr. Valerie Young, an expert on imposter syndrome and the co-founder of the Imposter Syndrome Institute, this can be broken down into 5 basic types. The perfectionist is the first one. Does this sound like anybody already? Who's a perfectionist here? I see you guys. So if you've raised your hand, this means that the type of imposter syndrome that you have involves believing that unless you are absolutely perfect, you could have done better every single time. You feel like an imposter because perfectionist and what's inside of you makes you believe that you're not as good as others that may be even doing less than you. Number 2 is the expert. The expert feels like an imposter because they know everything about a specific topic or subject. They haven't mastered every skill. So because of that, they feel that there's more to learn, and so they don't feel like they've reached that expert level. Number 3, the natural genius. This imposter feels like a fraud simply because they don't believe that they are naturally intelligent or competent. If you don't get something right the first time, or it takes you longer to master a skill, you feel like an imposter. As I'm looking around a room full of entrepreneurs, and I know that many of us have cut the cord, started new ventures, cut the cord, started new ventures, cut the cord. Some of us, however, when we cut that cord, don't really bounce back. And so that's a real skill set. Number 4, the soloist. Feeling like an imposter can simply come from asking for help to achieve a certain level or status. Asking for help has been deemed part of the imposter syndrome. And then number 5, the super person. This imposter involves believing that you must be the hardest worker or achieve the highest levels of achievement possible, because if not, otherwise you're a fraud. That was me. So I used to suffer from the super person imposter syndrome many years ago when I first started working for myself and immersing myself into the Worcester community. As an Afro-Latina who grew up in Brooklyn, New York, this is why I took that comment offensively, and who was raised by my grandmother, who worked very hard, and a mom that constantly reminded me to be the most that I can be no matter what, I found myself always trying to up one myself. Despite not having a degree in digital media marketing, I'm a psych major, I built myself up in the digital media marketing space. I work with both small and big brands, entrepreneurs, and creatives. Through my overachiever attitude, I received countless awards over the years with titles like Difference Maker, 40 on the 40, Strong Leadership, and shout out to Karen for Leadership Worcester. All of these awards, unfortunately, except the glass ones, sit very dusty in between books on my bookcases. I never found them to be fulfilling. And so I don't think they were fulfilling because I never saw the worth. I always thought to myself, well, it's not a bull, it's a prize. So it's not that important. And on a side note, reflecting back, I think if you asked Giselle from 7 years ago who had received a Pulitzer, she would have said, well, it's not a Nobel Peace Prize. Never satisfied. But as I continued to work in community and on my projects over the span of 10 years, and as I became a mom of 3, I realized that every award I received, I earned. Every promotion I was given, I earned. Every client I gained, I earned. And every friend I've made, I've also earned. I realized that I was worthy of not what I had just accomplished, but of what I will accomplish in continuum. So I broke up with imposter syndrome. I knew that this toxic relationship of me versus me could no longer continue because as an Afro-Latina, the odds are already stacked against me. The world was already telling me I was less than. It was telling me that I was worth 57 cents of every dollar my white male counterpart earns. It was telling me that despite Latinas starting companies at 50 times the national average, my added one didn't matter. It was telling me that all of this was worthless. With all of these reminders from society, I had to stop for a second to understand that I could no longer break myself down and feed into these notions by working 10 times harder than the next person to gain half of what they had. So I had to become my own hype woman and ensure that everything I was doing was being done with a clear conscience and not with a narrative that was created by others who see women, specifically Black and brown women, as a threat. With all of these intentionally manufactured external factors, we should not be adding more burdens onto ourselves. Instead, we should be celebrating our accomplishments, fixing each other's crowns, and saying, I got you, sis, because that is the basis of womanhood. So we deserve everything we have, everything we will gain, and everything we set our eyes onto because we fucking worked for it. So to all of my women here today, if you leave with anything, leave with my final thoughts. You are more than worthy, so break up with imposter syndrome and keep fucking going. I love it too. Take this.
Yes. All right.
Round of applause for Giselle. Our fabulous keynote speaker. I knew she would do the thing, and she did do the thing. Didn't she? Like, I just love it, love it, love it. All right, guys. So a couple of things. We are ending, I promise. So thank you to those brave souls. I saw a couple of yawns, but I'm gonna pretend I didn't see it because we going forward. Um, if you guys look on everybody should have received a goodie bag. Y'all, I worked hard on this. Everybody should have received the goodie bag. I didn't see that, y'all. I'm gonna pretend. All right. So if you guys could just take a look at the program. Everybody that was on the agenda, when you see them out there, please tell them thank you and please tell them they did a phenomenal job. The names are on here. I'll call it out. Well, I won't call it out. I also want to, if you look in your goodie bag, there's some business cards, there's cookies from To Life, there's some things from, well, me, but there's that raffle ticket. So I hope you guys have grabbed your raffle tickets. At this point, I'm gonna have Carla go grab it because we're gonna do the drawing right now. So, all right, just throw it in the thing right now. So I am going to have Deborah Ferrara, please stand up. All right, so if you guys turn around and look, Deborah Ferrara, yes, she is a commercial and residential cleaner, and her things are in the bag. All right, guys, I need you all to listen. I promise 5 more minutes and then you're done. But she is the generous donor of the basket of cleaning supplies. These are some of her favorite cleaning tools. So we're going to do the raffle right now, and whoever gets picked, they will be the winner. All right. Also, while Carla is coming, also remember Bree Sweet Treats. If you take a picture by her stand and tag her on social media, you get to win a box of chocolate. All right? Okay. So while I'm going to go ahead and thank everyone, so I do want to thank Carla, our phenomenal greeter and welcome committee. Yep. I want to thank our executive producer, Paul Anderson. And hope y'all know you were live on both Facebook and YouTube. So thank you, Paul. I do want to thank our special guest, Sean Harris. Thank you for being an ally, although he moved from the front row. That's okay. Um, okay. That's an ally. That's an ally. All right. Thank you to our workshop presenters, Natalie Rodriguez, Latasha Eugen, and Alicia Graham. Thank you to our panelists, Jennifer Gaskin, Maddie Gonzalez, Stephanie Williams, and our moderator, Miguelina Peralta. Thank you to our keynote, Ms. Giselle Rivera Flores. Also want to shout out Jaime, Giselle's husband, who's always here supporting her. All right, so a couple of other things. If you look in the bag, so please, our vendors are here. Make sure you're shopping them. Thank you to all the vendors that supported our first initiative. I know as vendors it's hard sometimes, so I appreciate. So Bree Sweet Treats, Candles by Darnella, Lily's Accessories Plus, SJ Beauty and Health, and Sweet by Lay. Please give them a round of applause. Yes. I do want to thank our sponsors who made this possible. Every single thing. Listen, if y'all ever put anything on, everything costs money. Okay. Breathing, I swear, costs money sometimes. So I was truly able to do this and relieve a lot of the burden from doing it by myself through these sponsors, the bronze sponsors, BRZ Insurance. So please read their information in promoting good. Their banners right there. There's a couple of their pens in the bag. So everyone needs insurance and everyone needs to work in an inclusive space. So please do not throw these away. They cost me like $5 per. So keep them for like 5 weeks and then throw it out, but keep it for a little bit. All right. All right. I also want to thank my other sponsors, Jennifer the author and the Worcester Caribbean American Carnival Association. Thank you. They're the same people, but they donated twice. All right. Thank you. And I do want to, yes, we want to thank our generous space sponsor who made this possible because y'all know it's very expensive to host events at spaces. So the JMac and Annalise back there, thank you so much. So, yes. And I got to give them credit. Giselle, they did put the stickers under there because I just didn't have the time. So they did that. So please, so yeah, that's it.
Salad glasses for business.
Oh. Oh, all right. So first they made me a queen cupcake, and now I have Jamaican lip gloss. Yes, yes, yes. So that's from FJ Health and Beauty. Please check them out because they have some amazing product, and she always smells so good. All right. So my brand thing is there. Just a couple of upcoming events for the brand. I have the tea party on April 7th. Tickets are $50. The ticket sale ends next Wednesday. Bree, I know you got your ticket. Please, it's an amazing time. We can talk offline. And then the Royal Ball is coming up on December 14th. One other things I do want to highlight that I'm going to create the thing tonight. I was contacted by the Black doctors at UMass. They are doing for Maternal Health Week is April 11th through the 17th, and they asked if they could come on the show and talk about Black maternal health. If you know anything about that, just it's a fact. The mortality rate around Black mothers, and it doesn't even matter your social economic standard, it's high. So she's a Black OBGYN. They're going to come on the show. So on April 10th, it's a Wednesday at the JMac from 5 to 7. It's just going to be a panel discussion. No, I lied. At the Major Taylor Museum. Major Taylor Museum. I'm trying to utilize these spaces that are in the community that are giving it for free so I can give you guys these things free of charge. So that's it for now. And I'm also working on a conference called Building Black. And it's really going to be focused on teaching Black, yes, financial literacy, legal things, because I met so many great Black entrepreneurs, and we just want to make sure you don't end up losing the business before you start. So please just check out those upcoming events. I'm trying to look at what else I said I was going to talk about. All right, because I'm wrapping it up. I know I said it. All right, perfect. All right, guys, listen, this event, oh, come on, let's do the raffle. And I do want to, okay, I have to thank my daughter, Shara Jessica, because she is graduating high school this year, and she is in, yes, she is interested in the culinary arts. So she is actually going to be, thank you, Jesus, attending QCC for the first 2 years, and then after that, transfer to Johnson and Wales. I really want to thank my QCC family, for like Viviana, Sean, and all of them that has encouraged me over and over. Be careful, because I was watching the news last night. It was saying that like the average tuition to some of these schools is $95,000. Like, wow. So think about that for 4 years. So I'm so grateful that she decided that, and she's going to be right here in the community. So she's going to cater. I do have some food for you over there, that she is the culinary genius behind it. All right, so let's do the drawing. Drum roll, please. All right, Carla, pick one. Yes. Oh, Lord.
my God.
No, oh, I did not pick that. Alicia Graham. She picked it. Alicia, please stand up. And Deborah, Alicia is the winner of your basket. And then Bree will tag you. So as I mentioned, she is a residential and commercial cleaner. So please connect with her. Her cards are in the goodie bag. Make sure, listen, I know if you be like, listen, it takes me all day to clean my house and 30 seconds for my kids to mess it up. So, all right. So the intent, 5 more minutes. Cool. I'm on time. The intent about today. I know, Janice, I know. You know what though? So I was listening to so many of these phenomenal women that were talking, and just like the different lived experiences. And I think one of the best thing we can do as female is when somebody speaks about their experience, believe them. And especially about a Black female, like believe their experience. We have vastly different experience, and no one person speaks, for the other. I do know that I do rely on my female friends, and there's women in this room that are like close friends, and there's some are acquaintances, and some I'm like, hey, what's up? And that's okay. I think sometimes we feel like everybody needs to be our best friend, and everybody doesn't need to be your best friend. That's okay. We do not have the mental capacity to have 100 best friends. Like, I can't keep up. Like, we're busy. And I like friends that, again, we cannot talk for 6 months, but I know they're good. But if I need them, I can pick up the phone and I can call them, and, they can do it. So I've certainly have some different experiences. I've certainly broken up with friends in terms of, well, I wouldn't say broken up. So I don't have any fake friends, and I don't have any toxic friends, because I'm grateful that, like, as like Jennifer says, if I see it getting away, like as we're building, I will stop it, because I have hard stops and I have boundaries, because I know what I expect from a friend. I know what I give as a friend. So this is what I'll encourage you, like, have your boundaries and live by those boundaries, and don't be ashamed or embarrassed to say, it's okay. Some friends are okay with other friends calling them the B word. That's a hard no for me. So if you have a friend that's who, and that's their business, but again, it's a hard no for me. So those are some hard stops for me. So I've always had like just the discernment to say that. I was listening to you, Stephanie, when you talked about, like in the workplace, and I got it, and I felt the same when I said, I've gotten two friends from the workplace, two Brazilian ladies, my two best friends for over 20 years. But, I remember when I ended up leaving a job because it was just toxic. And I called and I gave my notice, and I was, and they said to me, the reason why this store is not succeeding, I was in retail, is because of your assistant manager. If when corporate calls, you tell corporate that you have a weak manager assistant, that's why you're not succeeding, you will, they'll be fine. Because the store was struggling. Like, the volume of the store was like $1 million, and they remodeled it, and all of a sudden we went to like 20 million. Like, just because we added a new vanity, they thought like people are going to spend $19 million more. And I said, no, I wasn't willing to do that, because I knew it wasn't true. So when I gave my notice, my friend, she was my friend at the time, and they told me, try to get me to throw her on the bus. And when I left. She then called this person, like this is a district manager, somebody in a position of power, called my friend and said to her, like, hey, Suzanne gave her notice, and I'm so excited because she was holding you back. And she said, thank you, but I'm giving my notice now because everything that I've gained so far, I've learned from Suzanne because when I started here, I barely spoke English. I was Portuguese. And I'm not gonna lie, she was stunning. And we worked at Victoria's Secret. So I just said, listen, just give the men these. And they didn't even ask questions, they just bought things. But that was my experience with female friends. And I'm saying, like, I've had those two great friendships from that, and I've never had any more. But I will say that I am guarded when it comes to, but I don't close myself off to different experiences. So, female red flags, if you cannot share your accomplishment around her, that is not your friend. Everybody has seasons in their life that they're succeeding, and that's okay. You know, celebrate your friend, cheer for your friend. If you have a friend that you feel like you have to diminish you who you are for them to feel better about themselves, that is not your friend. You know, as Stephanie said, like we've had to code switch. We've worked a lot of times in primarily white spaces, and code switch does not mean you're less authentic, but it's kind of like, you know, if I see Stephanie or Jennifer and I was like, girl, that chick was just off half cray carrot. It's like, but then you have to break it down and explain what that means. I'm not gonna say it in the same, you know, language to somebody else who's non-black because again, like to break it down, it's just a lot of work. I don't really want to have to explain the Black experience to every non-Black person. So I think that for me, female friendship has been so good. And we have to check on our strong female friends. We often don't. I will say that this morning, Maddie called me. I was driving to BJ's and she was like, I just wanted to call you and say, today's going to be great. God has his hands on you. And it felt great. There's been women in my life that I've been able to reach over. The first time I met Stephanie, I'm going to tell the story. It's a good story. So, I was at a company and I was going to interview for a diversity, equity, inclusion position. And I knew Randy Feldman. And I would just, you know, for some reason, I don't know how. I don't know if you know Randy, you know Randy Feldman. And I was like, you know, hey, Randy, like any pointers? And he says, my fiance's sister just got hired for this role. Why don't you call her? I had never met her. And I'm like, yeah, she's going to call me back. I left her a message to say, hey, this is who I am. And I kid you not, she called me back and she stayed on the phone with me and she went over questions and just like didn't know me from a hole in the wall. And you showed up for me. And I appreciate that. That's what, yeah. So you're stuck with me. You're absolutely, you know, you're stuck with me. You know, Jennifer, like I call her and I was like, hey, I'm doing this. She sponsors a thing, like without like, she's like, I got you. Like that's like for me, those things are simple. These things are sisterhood. You know, the other day, and a lot of times I know I'm always positive. It was like a tough day. And I don't always get everything that I go after. Shocking. But you know, I called a friend and I said, listen, girl, I need a TJ Maxx run. And she's like, okay, meet me at TJ Maxx. I'm like, meet me in the parking lot. We met, we went, we shopped, we left, we didn't talk. That's what I needed. So that's what's friendship. Don't put barriers on your friendship. Don't put boundaries on your friendship. Don't judge your friends. Show up, live life, have fun, be the best. Because I'm telling you, like, female friendship is so sacred. It's something that you could sing into. And the idea of this just came to me because I really wanted women to experience the levels of friendships that I've had. You know, I have a friend, Janice, and again, your friends doesn't always have to be like you. So Janice, she's sitting back there and she's pretending she's not here, but like Janet shows up for me. Yeah, and we're the complete opposite. She doesn't like taking pictures. She does not like sparkles. She doesn't eat chocolate. But that's my girl. Like when I need a reality check, you know, that's who, when I was going through a tough time at work and I'm like, you know, I need to talk about this. That's who. So I have so many great female friends. And the reason why, as like I said, don't allow toxic friends in your life. Let them go. It's okay to break up with a friend if you're not getting and if you're not giving. because it's a two-way street. And it doesn't mean you're in each other's face every single day, but show up, be the thing. And again, they don't have to be like you. I am so humbled by tonight. I'm so humbled by everyone that attended. I appreciate you. So we're going to end. Can I have every woman in the room stand up? Every single one of you. You are beautiful. You are powerful. You are singular. You are amazing. You are unique. You are unstoppable. You're dynamic. You're magnetic. You are all the things and then some. The words for you have not even been invented yet. They will put new words in the dictionary to describe who you are. So, whatever your journey is at this time, it's okay. Whether you're at the mountaintop or you're at the valley, it's okay. Find the spaces in your life that celebrates you. Find the places in your life that does more than tolerate you. Be in places that you are a big deal, that you are celebrated. Somebody that tells you you're all that and a bag of chips. And I know I just showed my age with that because that went out with the 90s, but that's okay. You are amazing, incredible human being. I am so humbled that I get to share space with you all. I thank you for attending. I thank you for sharing. I thank you for your vulnerability. And whatever it is that you do, know that whether I'm there or not, I will be cheering for you 100%. I'll be the loudest, I'll be the brightest, and I'll be the sparkliest because I do like my bright colors and my sequins. But if it's hiking, Giselle, don't call me. But um when you invent a hiking heels, I'm there. But ladies, I love you all. You are fantastic. Thank you so much. We're gonna spend the next 30 minutes. I mean, y'all could leave, but please partake in some light appetizers and drinks and all of that. And you notice I fed you at the end, so y'all wouldn't leave. And I'm joking. Shop the vendors, do all the thing, give yourself a round of applause. I love you all. I got you, sis. The first year was a raging success. All right, give yourself a round of applause. Come on. All right, guys, that's it. You're done. I'm like breaking stuff. Thank you. Hold on, let me take the mic off. She needs me. Here's the lighter. Oh, she was blushing. She was so happy. We were talking about you. She, oh, you want me to take it? Hey guys, you want me to take it? Yeah, she dropped these. Yeah. Am I taking it?